Welcome back to part 2 of the Space Marines range review. Let's jump right in. I believe we left off at the end of the HQs, so the beginning of the next section is covering the battle line, starting with base troops here. We got the Intercessors, aka the new Tactical Marines. I think these are great.
I think there's a better example of them later on. I think these guys are perfectly fine. They're like Marines. They look cool.
Space Marines are cool.
But they're Battleline. Like, they're pretty cool for Battleline.
So this is a decent time as any to talk about the reality of Primaris becoming a thing. I think when Primaris was announced, GW a lot of people were really pissed off that they were going to basically have to rebuy their Space Marine collection, repaint their Space Marine collection. But in the modern era, this is so much cooler than this, right?
The little dwarf guys, yeah.
Maybe if these didn't exist, these would look fine. But, these have a certain je ne sais quoi, a certain nostalgia feel to them where they're very cool, but they don't have broad artistic appeal. Whereas these just feel
They're better. They're
better
good
scaled.
models.
And whenever you're painting these, because they're a larger scale, they're 32 mil versus 28 mil scale, you can really flesh out the detail when you paint these a lot easier than you can with a smaller model. And they just look more realistic, I think. They have better proportions, everything like that.
You have better poses when they have the better scale and proportions. You can make them cooler stuff.
That's an excellent point, because if you look at these guys, a lot of Tactical Marines are, I'm holding my bolter to the left. I'm holding my bolter to the left. I'm holding my bolter to the left. They're all just doing that same thing. People like shit on monopose, but these are basically monopose, right?
Yeah. That's just the proportions, I think. They're very good. And they're base. Like, you need these guys to make everything else stand out. And they, as a baseline, they're awesome.
There you go, Matt. There's your gun strap.
To a lot of the old guys when they never had gun straps. Like in a single video game, if this Space Marine ever slung his gun, like, oh boy, my arm's tired.
They pull out the sword, though. Alright.
Assault Intercessors, the chainsword wielding dudes.
I think comparatively, these guys, one, better game last. Two, I just like their poses better. Like, a lot more dynamic.
Oh, yeah.
And this kit, these guys came out in Indomitus era, right? 9th edition, start of 9th edition. This is not the same kit. So you could get the Indomitus Marines, who have their own unique mono poses, and you could get these guys, and you'll never need any more Assault Intercessors ever again. You'll have 20 of them, and they look pretty good.
Yep, solid.
But the thing that I really like about them is they aren't super detailed, so you can get them painted up to a really good condition relatively easily.
And they're gonna look good. That's the big thing. The model's gonna do a lot of the work for you, and for your battle line, that's what you need.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. But these guys are my favorite. I love Gravis Marines.
But these guys are awesome.
Yeah, big old dudes, big old guns. They got some decent poses. Yeah, solid.
I think these as like Imperial Fists would be dope, or as maybe even like Dark Angels in Gravis armor. I think Dark Angels are preferential towards Gravis armor. These are very cool. The only thing that I kind of don't like is I think this is a $60 kit.
Yeah, there's not a lot to it. They're monopose, but
yeah,
the guns are cool.
Yeah, these are master-crafted bolters, I believe. Heavy bolt rifles, that's what they are.
Heavy bolt rifles, and one has a heavy bolter. But yep, cool.
So we get to the Tactical Marines here. The Tactical Marines are old Marines, so they are likely going to go the way of the Dodo. I know we've said that before. And by way of the Dodo, I mean they're going to go extinct. Be pulled from the rotation eventually, to the chagrin of a lot of Marine players. But they do look decent. I feel like if the Primaris Marines didn't exist, these would still be pretty good looking models. They look a little squat and derpy, in relation to some of these other Marines that we have, but for the most part I think they lack because of their comparison to their contemporaries.
Without Primaris, these would still be fine. They look iconic, it's an upgrade, and it's an older model. That's what happened. Like, something could be perfectly fine, and then you see its bigger, hotter sister, and you feel very inadequate after.
Yeah.
But there's still a place for them for, like, legacy collectors.
Almost always take your old stuff. There's Horus Heresy for a lot of the older stuff. GW just came out and said, again, if you put the right basis, if the model is clear what it is, you're not going to get much back talk or any issue at most, any even competitive events. If it's clear what it is, you're good.
Right.
There's no reason a tactical marine, when their time is gone, you can't put them on the right side base and play them as intercessors.
You should clear it with the tournament organizer, the TO. You should clear it with them, make sure everything's okay, and then be clear with your opponent. The one thing where you might run into problems, this guy's supposed to have a las cannon or something, and that might be the only thing where people get a little bit picky about WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. I think if these are standing in as regular intercessors, you're just saying, okay, this whole 10 man's, these are intercessors.
There's less and less special weapons in these squads.
Right.
Upgrades are now free in 10th edition, so the issue with this is becoming less and less. Just bring an army and play. Especially for a lot of people that are just starting, you're going to go to your local shops, and people there just aren't going to care.
No, they're not going to care at all.
They just want you there and play. They want you there to fun. They want their events full.
Right, unless they're a dickhead, in which case you don't really want to play with them anyway, probably. But
yeah, that's a great thing. If they say no, good. More and more, you're going to have more options than one shop, hopefully.
Yeah.
And
all right, so let's move on to the jump intercessors here. A relatively recent kit. What do you think, Marcus?
They're awesome. They are a great jump pack, good poses. That was a lot of the captain question. It was more the pose or the model, but they're so much cooler than old jump pack infantry.
Yeah,
I love the bigger jump pack on them.
Yeah,
I think it looks so cool.
Yeah, for sure. That's where they would struggle. If they did struggle, they would struggle with the jump pack's a little derpy, and then the other thing would be if they were posed in a way that didn't really make sense. It seems that GW is moving away from flight stands. Maybe if this were 9th edition or this were 8th edition and these models were coming out, 3 or 4 years ago or longer even, these might have a flight stand, right? If you look at the suppressor kit, for example, or you look at the plasma guys.
Yeah, flight stands are awful. These are a big upgrade.
Yeah, so I'm glad they're doing this. They're pretty bog standard Marines, but they do look good. For bog standard jump pack Marines, I think they nailed it.
A little expensive, but pretty cool.
You mean money or points wise?
Yeah. Oh, they were one of the best things Marines had for a little bit. Rules wise, as far as jump infantry go, they are still one of the best. They kind of cost the same what everyone else now costs, but they hit pretty hard in melee. They have deep strike keywords, so you can come in. They're great at doing actions because they're fast. They can come in from reserves anywhere on the board.
Yeah. So in general, 40k, and maybe you'll disagree with this, but 40k is a movement game. And so anytime you have an infantry unit that can fly and has the 12-inch movement or whatever it might be, faster than the base movement speed, it increases the value of that unit in the rules of the game and from a competitive standpoint considerably, just from the fact that, Raptors and CSM, for example. Raptors didn't hit particularly hard. They weren't particularly beefy. Didn't do anything well other than the fact that they were action monkeys that you could throw forward onto a point without feeling awful when they got blown up. Or you could deep strike them in to move block or to do an objective. So just in general, I think if you're looking at competitive viability, these will probably have a place moving forward, or more likely to have a place moving forward than versus some other data sheets within the codex.
Yeah, always having a unit with a jump pack is a key in a lot of armies.
Yeah, and scouts kind of play that role in Space Marines, but I wouldn't be surprised if that role is kicked back and forth between this unit and scouts, and from here on out in every edition.
They do very similar things. Scouts are a little cheaper. These guys are a little faster.
They hit a little harder too.
Perfect. Yep. Well, as I said, Blood Angels love these guys because they really make them hit hard.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going for a chapter that's flood the board with dudes and get stuff up in there and into engagement range to fight, I think you got a pretty good unit here.
Oh yeah.
Matt, tell me why you love the Eliminators.
I love them so much. They're so goddamn cool. I think they have some of the coolest poses, and anytime you just have a really big gun, I think it looks better on these guys than the smaller bolters. The capes are awesome. These guys can look good without helmets. That guy in the front, looking through the scope. Everything about it's great.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
He's got the 2 fingers outside. There's so much detail put on these guys. It's crazy.
Right, he's got amazing trigger discipline. Maybe this is his safety here, and he's going to get ready to flip his safety before he targets it on the baddies.
All his gubbins.
Yeah, and this guy's got a little... I don't know what this is.
Dude,
That's
that's
cool, though.
his tactical gravestone. So whenever,
Yeah.
his buddy dies, he just throws it right on top of him and keeps going.
Exactly, yeah. Pulls out the gene seed with one hand, tosses this on top of the other.
Yeah. The big thing these guys solve is the big gun problem of a model holding a big gun, just looking like he's just holding it, like just two-handing like a pizza.
Yeah.
These guys are some of the best examples of having dynamic poses with big ass guns, and they do it great.
And this, I think, like, people talk about scale creep in GW, and people talk about, like, okay, they're trying to sell us Primaris models, but they're doing an amazing job. If they wanted to sell us Primaris, and it was just like you said, like a dude standing there with both arms in a 45-degree angle from his body going, I have a gun, it would look shitty, right? But these are amazing. So, in terms of the scale creep, in terms of selling us new models, they also nailed the poses, and they nailed the art style.
Yeah, A plus.
They're
Yeah.
awesome.
Yep. The only thing I'll add is, like, is this guy being stealthy? I don't know.
Yeah, rules wise, the only issue with them they've kind of fallen from. They've had some shenanigans this edition. Just haven't quite had a role, but again, they're a semi cheap unit that can do some interesting things.
These are what? Strength 5, precision heavy?
Or they could have the last fusils, which are the like little Laskins. Space Marine 2 has them, so they're cool, like little kind of anti-tank weapons. But
What are they, strength 7?
I think like strength 9, 10.
Strength 9? That's not
It's been
bad.
a while. And their rule is they shoot and then move, which is always a strong ability.
Yeah? So they can move after they shoot, basically, is what you're saying.
Yes,
Yeah. Can they
or
forward
at least
deploy?
it used to be. I believe they do have infiltrate. They've kind of fallen out of favor due to the new scout squad. Kind of does what they do, a little bit
Yeah.
cheaper.
That was true in 9th with incursors and infiltrators, too. Like, these guys were point for point. They've seen some play since I've been playing in 9th and 10th edition, but they've been overshadowed by cheaper units that do the thing that they want to do better.
They did have a trick where they could shoot, get inside of impulsor, then the impulsor could shoot them again. That's likely been fixed, but yeah. Firing decks is a screwed up rule.
I wouldn't count on that kind of thing. That's sort of like an oversight type thing.
It lasted way too long that you could do it. It was dumb.
Yeah. All right, the Eradicators, one of my favorite units. These came out in the Indomitus box. Big old dudes in Gravis armor with heavy F-off cannons.
From the last time, they saw some dynamic poses. They still kind of, especially that guy in the top right, still kind of has the guy just holding a big gun. Their guns are extra big, so there's not much you can do with them. But still, I give them a B as far as a big guy holding a gun or big gun being held by a guy.
Yeah, I just personally, aesthetically, I like the kind of more slender guys because they have more of that range of movement. These guys are pretty cool. I don't like the mask on them. I think they should have, if you're going to be the giant, big, heavy guy, the Call of Duty Juggernaut, put a helmet on.
Right, you shouldn't be able to be shot in the forehead, to be brought low.
Like the helmet with the huge collar plate, super cool looking.
This one here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just from a painting perspective, too. Trying to paint these masks in this way is tight space in there to get that. The heavy metal team painted these, and Edge highlighted the freaking mask on this guy, but this is just going to be so much easier to paint, too.
And honestly, it looks better. Skin's got to be worth to do, because otherwise, like, to get a worse product from our work is just not.
Yeah.
Gravis is still pretty cool, but
They're proper Gravis, so they're 3 boons. They are probably one of the best anti-tank options that Marines have that's not a vehicle. They're fantastic. Melta is a really good rule because it gets around a lot of zero out damage and half damage things.
And these are 18-inch meltas, right?
Yep, so their big rule is they real hit some wounds against vehicles. Yeah, they're very consistent. They've gotten point increase because they're so good at their job. They still are. Great Gladius, likely the key option in the Vanguard fleet with Ultramarines being led by Calgar and the Gravis Apothecary. They infiltrate, and then Calgar, they shoot, and then Calgar fights. It's a great combination.
Yeah, it seems strong. When I was looking at getting my Dark Angels army, I wanted to get them as Dark Angels, mostly for the paint scheme, but I don't know. Dark Angels have sort of a hard hitting. Maybe we'll talk more about that whenever we talk Dark Angels. But yeah, I mean, I love them because I think they're really cool, but they've also just been good in 9th and 10th edition.
Yep.
And Meltas were the thing in 9th edition, They kind of fell off at the beginning of 10th because a lot of the toughness of a lot of the vehicles went up.
They were no longer winning vehicles on 4s and 3s. They went to 5. So you needed to have a very good Melta or roll that made that Melta consistent.
Right,
That's
or
what
yeah, dev wounds or something that was like reroll wounds or something to give them that edge.
Yep, these guys still have it. Meltas are really the do-it-all kind of weapon. That's what I think they tried to change. They'll kill some infantry. They'll kill tanks. These guys will do it all. You're never gonna be sad to have them. And they're tough. They can take a hit.
Let's talk Hellblasters. And specifically, let's talk this guy.
My word.
Give him hell, Marines.
This is a series of Marines that are holding a different kind of gun.
So yeah, I mean the big takeaway here is do the helmets on these guys too. I think we've been saying that this whole review, but let's just put some helmets on these Marines. This is an amazingly painted face, and is it though? I guess is the question. Like the painter couldn't have done more.
Hell, you know, war is hell, man. That's why he's blasting.
Yeah, specifically this eye.
He's mid blasting.
Yeah. No, I love Hellblasters. I think these came out in Leviathan, correct?
Definitely 9th edition. Could have been 8th.
No.
But.
No, these were Leviathan for. I'm like 95% sure.
Okay. No, they were a joke in all of 9th and maybe even all of 8th.
Really?
Yeah, they were kind of. The issue is with Marines is they're not super cheap. They, like I said, they're elite army. So if you give every person in a squad plasma guns, which they have, slightly worse, or in some cases a different one, there's not much in the way of ablative wounds. So whenever a guy dies, you lose a plasma gun, and it kind of hurts.
Which on Marines especially.
Yeah, at the end of the day, they're not gratis. They're 2 wound bodies, and that's kind of been the problem of like they can come out, they're really good at killing elite infantry, but they're not amazing at killing tanks. They kind of felt wasted into hordes. They could do stuff to those, but they were pretty expensive. They weren't particularly tanky. They changed that in 10th. Now, when they die, there's a good chance they shoot again. And they're one of the few things in the game that can shoot twice in turn.
Yeah.
Especially in Dark Angels. A lot of people like the Azrael Hellblaster bomb to give them a 4 pinfall, so to help their durability issue.
Yeah, and Plasma's super flavorful for Dark Angels too, so you're not even embarrassed about the fact that your army is,
Yep. And again, you're okay if they die, because there's a good chance they shoot on death. They come out, they shoot, and they probably get to shoot twice, which is, end of the day, if you get a shooting unit to shoot twice, is typically all you can really expect of it, and be happy with it.
From a paint perspective, for new people, make sure you paint the plasma coils. Make sure you paint them like blue.
Yep, 100%.
You paint the whole gun gray, it gets really confusing sometimes to tell what guns are which.
You don't want to. You want someone to be like, I thought that was 10 intercessors. Nope, it's 10 guys with plasma guns. 6 of them shoot you.
Yeah, and Plasma is one of those things where it's really easy to get a decent result.
You want to put that extra little bit of time in and paint the coils. Same thing like with the flame weapons. A little bit of time to make the front have that burnt end. It also makes it stand out as a flame weapon or a melta or something.
Yep. I threw these on here just to show a little bit of variation. I try to do that throughout. Armies on parade. You might get your Hellblaster in the Imperial Fist variety, or the one of the I think this is Iron Hands. One of the Black Marines varieties, yeah. This is the same guy.
Yeah.
This is before his hair went gray. This must be the moment he saw the shit, Well, anyway, Cursor Squad.
I kind of like them. They're a bit goofy. I like them more than the regular squad. They have some dynamic poses. I don't love all of them. If you have a 10-man, there's some better ones than the other. They definitely put the cooler ones up front. Then you got a guy with a knife and a gun.
A really big knife. It's the size of his arm.
Yeah.
But the guy with the mind's super cool. That sergeant up front.
I think a big criticism of them, and I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing, they do not have a Space Marine silhouette. If anything, these guys look kind of Tau-ish to me.
Yeah, I can see that.
It has changed the design aesthetic of them.
That's a Phobos armor thing too, but I
Yeah,
don't
it's
I
not a
don't
bad
mind.
thing. Like I said, I think it's cool to have the variety, but I know that can be a criticism. Is these guys don't really look like Space Marines.
Yeah, I think it's a cool trade-off. These guys are lightly armored but fast, agile.
They're pretty well armed. They're a marine in every sense.
Mhm.
They kind of buff your arm. They give us a shooting buff. I believe they have scout instead of infiltrate. They don't do much damage, but they support you. They don't have meant to.
hmm Is it the Incursor that has the deep strike bubble? Like
No,
the non?
that's the next unit we're going to talk about.
Oh, that's these guys.
Yeah, the infiltrator. But I think
Infiltrators. Yeah.
incursors are pretty much the same box. It's a different way to build them.
What do we think about this little gubbin on their backpacks? Yeah.
I like one guy with it. Maybe 10 is a logistical nightmare to own. So don't worry, you won't have it there very long.
I don't know though, because that's the thing is like, is this the only distinguishing feature between Incursors and Infiltrators? Is this little gubbin?
Might be. It might be. We'll have to remember. We might come back to it when we get to the
I'm pretty sure
infiltrator
this
unit.
kit builds both.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And you get 10 of them. Like, it's a good value kit.
Yeah. Yeah, but the question is, is this the distinguishing characteristic? If this gets sheared off the top, will your opponents have a hard time recognizing this as an Incursor? I don't think it's a big deal. I think like whenever I built these, I didn't have a problem with these falling off because this isn't attached. Like that attach point there is not the attach point. This plate that it's attached to fits onto the backpack and you glue that in place. So it's all one piece of plastic. If I recall correctly, it holds up pretty well. It's not like AdMech where it's like a spindly hell piece that goes like 15 feet above the model, and if you look in its direction, it'll blow it into a million pieces.
If it doesn't, you can always mix super glue and wood glue. That'll keep it on there.
Yes. No, not an official endorsement. Do not do that.
Official endorsement.
If you're a child listening to this, first of all, don't. Consult a parent.
Get out.
Yeah. But if you're a child listening to this, wood glue is for wood. Super glue.
You can buy our license. It's called hyper glue. Wood glue plus super glue.
Yeah.
And a special formula.
No, God damn it. Oh my God. So I hope the children listened and got out while the getting out was good. Mommy, what's... Not going to say it.
What's hyper glue?
What's hyper glue? This man on the internet said it's... Yeah. What chat rooms have you been visiting? Shout out to the White Scars. Amazing. Cool models. I do like them. I don't like the fact that they've been doing this more and more.
Here's a turd.
Where like they did that with not literally a turd, but they did that with the new Terminators too, where they have like the beacon. Whatever.
Like,
if you have something that's gonna go away, can only be used once per battle. It is a cool little memory thing, but
it's in the box. So it's not, you're paying for it, but it's no squig.
It's definitely no
Cool
squig.
little Roomba.
Yeah. For sweeping up
Portable
the
toilet.
trash.
Paint a little face on him. Give him a name.
We might have skipped the
It might be
infiltrators. Maybe it's further down. We'll have to see. Inceptors, what do you guys think? They can be built with either the plasma or the bolters.
I like the armor a lot. They're thick. They're kind of dumb. Those poses are weird.
I like light stands. These guys remind me of Seraphim. They're cool guys, dual guns, and they're gonna fly around.
Those guys, if they had
out, gonna be blasting.
a proper knot, the flight stand has to be directly up their butts. It does kind of limit what they can do.
That guy in the top left, he's along for the ride. He's not in control of that jetpack. He's just like, oh God, please.
This guy. Left rudder.
Can't see. Help.
I saw a kit bash on these a long time ago. I was trying to find it for this video, but they put skis on here.
The reason why they have those little foot pads. I mean, I guess it controls the jetpack, but the other guys control their jetpacks fine.
I honestly could not tell you. It's probably just a design decision.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because it's Gravis and they need shocks to support the Gravis armor when they land or when they take off or something. Or they need a little extra oomph to get into the air or something. Who knows? Any of those reasons are probably acceptable.
I like flight stands for flying units. It makes them stand out. It gives 3D depth.
Yeah. And you could get a unique flight stand, or like the exhaust from the jetpacks. I've seen those. I've seen people do those. And you could be a real meme lord and put it from the butt of the Marine. The 12-year-olds watching this video loved that joke. You could...
And I loved it too.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Matt. The biggest problem with this is it falls off. The flight stands are cool, they never hold up is the problem.
Oh yeah, they're terrible.
Yeah. These guys are jump infantry. I think the flight stand works somewhat okay with these because I don't think they're really touching the ground. I think they're in the air the whole time. Like they're not really touch ground. They're shooting. They're not going down to punch people like jump back intercessors.
Right.
They don't touch grass, just like me, for real.
Yeah.
Rules wise, though, talk about Vanguard Marines a lot because they kind of have a specific build. Kind of getting to the end of what they do well. Their big thing is,
well, they can deep strike, right?
They have deep strike. They can deep strike within 3 inches.
Yeah.
They can't charge after, but they don't care. So it
does not matter at all. They don't care about fighting. They're just there to deep strike in and fucking mess
and
with
they have
plasma.
2 plasma guns with twin link or a bunch of bolter shots. They have gone up in cost. They were one of the most broken units in the game. It's one of those things that what would you pay for a unit 3-inch? That concept is you can't stop that from it. You can't particularly screen it unless you have we haven't got to like an infiltrator unit that has a no-go zone, deep strike zone. Yeah, these guys are awesome. They're good in 3-mans for just mission play and doing some good damage. They're tanky.
They were really good in 9th too, and maybe that's what you were talking about. But they have always had a place competitively. It's such a strong combination of factors. We talked about movement being really important, but punching and hitting hard is also important, right? So they combine that in spades.
And being fast means you're probably going to be the one to hit first, especially these guys.
You can screen out a 3-inch deep strike if you have 240 crude hounds. The Ottoman army. Both in attack and defense.
I don't know. I don't think that's. I mean, yeah.
If you take every square inch of that board up with crude hounds, where are they going to drop? Checkmate.
He let the dogs out. Woof. God help us. Infernus Marines. So these are the ones that came out in Leviathan.
Yep. They're Battleline, I guess. We guess we could have them in Battleline, but it's easy to forget.
Are they Battleline?
I think so. I think
I pulled this literally, like I put them onto this PowerPoint referencing Wahapedia. Use Wahapedia, everybody. Yep. I think them being here not with the Battleline means that they're not Battleline.
They might not be.
I'm often wrong, so who knows?
And the fact I don't know is a sign.
They're not very good.
They're not bad. Issue number 1 they are Space Marines. They are standard Space Marine with different gun.
Yeah.
Nothing special. If you like flamethrowers.
Do they do okay in the Firestorm?
Oh, yeah. I think that, give them +1 strength. There's a Dev Wound strat. They can do some good stuff. Like, they're not a joke, but they're pretty much Firestorm or bust, kind of. There's better Flamer units, but these guys are pretty cheap.
I mean, there's something really badass about just like a wave of these guys moving up the board, blasting with flamethrowers.
If you want an old Flamer army, they're here. Like, it's one of those things. Like, it's cool they exist. If you like flamethrowers, there's no reason not to.
We should definitely get something like this for CSM. Truly let the galaxy burn. Are these 18-inch flamers?
I doubt it. I think they're just regular flamers.
12-inch flamers. Do they have assault?
They might be. They probably have strength 5 or something.
Strength 5, -1.
A little bit stronger.
1 damage.
No, I don't think they're not -1 AP.
No, just yeah.
They have a role in specifically the flame detachment. Everything else, you really not that much too much.
Well, I still like them, like you said. They're Marines with different gun, but hey, that gun is a flamethrower, so I'm all aboard.
Yeah, pretty much what you said. Coming from, old edition, I think it's weird that they're an entire squad and not just put a flamethrower on a normal squad, but I guess that's just how they've changed.
Yeah, it's just the world we live in. All right.
There we go. Here's infiltrators.
Similar to the incursors, I don't want to spend too much time talking about basically duplicate units with different kits, or with different loadouts, but I think the models are cool. We generally are on board with Phobos, I think, as a group.
I think the antenna are cooler than the little rangefinder.
Yeah.
On their back.
rules wise, these guys are some of the strongest things we have. We talked about denying deep strikes. These guys have a 12-inch no deep strike zone.
Yeah.
And unlike anything else in the game, these are per models. You have 5 different models that are each blocking out 12 inches. Typically, it's a character in that unit, so 12 inches from him, but the amount of area these 5 models can cover of your opponent just not getting to deep strike, it's insane. And if you have 2 of them, you're pretty much, you have complete control of where your opponent goes. They are a little expensive, but they do have infiltrate and marine bodies. They're nice.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of armies are going to try and rely on that game plan of getting in where you don't
Yeah.
want them to be.
If you never want to lose the demons, yes.
And you could play some real 3D chess with these guys. Like, if you know that your opponent's drawing certain secondary objectives already, and you know that there's like a 50-50 chance they're going to draw like the one that you have to secure all 4 corners. Like, the point is, you can do some real card counting bullshit and play some really high level 40k with these guys.
Peace of mind, yeah, they're awesome. Then by the end of the game, again, they can do an action, they can throw a grenade, and they're not that much more expensive than an intercessor squad.
They play the game. Like, they don't just shoot, they let you play the game is a big thing.
Yep.
Right.
They're very
They're
interactive. Or, in the case of demons, non-interactive, because, screw them. But they should have just, like, gotten good or something.
Yeah.
You probably want to in every Marine army.
You want 6 of these guys in every Marine army, right, Marcus?
Listen, I think for the first time, there's an argument they're playable.
In Blood Angels, right?
In Blood Angels. It's an argument still, but they're cool as hell. Like, look at them.
They are super, super, super cool. I can't believe they've languished in rules hell for as long as they have. There is something to be said for the fact that they are knife-wielding dumbasses in the 41st millennia. Like, what are you doing with a knife?
With grappling hooks.
Yeah. Like, oh, we're here to impose terror by not wearing a full helmet.
Eldar have warp spiders. Terminators have, like, the shock things. And these guys are like, we have a grappling hook in our gun.
Hey, that's very scary. Imagine how crazy a man has to be to bring a fucking grappling hook to a 40k battlefield.
But did Master Chief do it first? That's the real question.
I like this guy because he's just going for it,
Speaking of, like, breaking your models, there you go.
yeah.
Don't build that guy. You will not. It'll be cool for maybe one game if you can't do
Or
it.
the opposite. Buy 10 of the squad, make an entire squad of 10 guys shooting the grappling hook.
It just looks like the rest of the guys aren't associating with him, like, we're all the Reavers. Hey guys, watch this! And shoots his little grappling hook off.
The units had a history of so bad. Like, they have scout or infiltrate. They don't shoot. They don't have a super relevant role. What they do have is they will always get cheaper every update to the point where it's like, well, at what point can a 3-up armor 2 body be
Pay
bad?
you to put them on the board.
Yeah, at some point they're gonna be just good Marines, right? They've got a decent enough profile.
Yeah, points decides everything, essentially. These guys don't do anything that's super relevant. They do like a battle shock thing.
So the battle shock thing, any rule in 40k where you're like, I'm gonna manipulate the battle shock phase or the morale phase or the leadership tests, it's probably a bad unit, right? I mean,
Unless you're an army that
realistically.
needs it, like unless you're Tyranids or Chaos Knights, which is usually a bad army rule to begin with, so like you're forced to deal with that. The fact that these guys have to like get in melee range and do anything to make their role relevant, just kind of sad. They are dirt cheap, and they have a melee weapon, so Blood Angels can make them decent in the Liberated Assault unit, but they are probably the cheapest body and power.
Yeah. I don't know. Cool models, disappointing rules. I don't know if they're ever going to really have a place to shine competitively. Never say never, because models always come around.
Yep, whatever's good is going to be bad, whatever's bad is going to be good.
If you're a huge Reaver guy, live your best life. If you're really into grappling hooks and skull face masks and big-ass Bowie knives and your hero growing up... Reaving people, yeah. If you're Christopher Reaver, good on you. Get in there with your Marines. No one should tell you how to live your life.
Paint them red, play Blood Angels. They're not even a joke. They're a legit option.
Yep.
Which is the most they've ever been.
And that's good advice. That's generally good advice, too. Like, paint them red, play Blood Angels. Blood Angels are good, so...
Yep.
Marcus, why don't you just go on a tangent? I'm gonna go get a coffee. Why don't you just go on a tangent about why these guys are good? Convince all the haters about
So
why.
first of all, new models, the old ones were awful. These guys, as far as mission play, have been nerfed slightly for cost. These are some of the single best mission play tools. They have infiltrate and scout. So as far as the infiltrating war kind of happens, these guys are one of the best pieces. They can deploy aggressively, and then once you know who's going first, they can move backwards. Every army has one. Two's probably the right number. You could have three.
You can run them as 5-mans, right?
5 or 10 mans, yeah. So they're
Buy this kit. I think it's an $80 kit.
kill team. It
Kill team.
might be 65.
Buy this kit once, right? And you get 2 units of 5, and you run them as 5-mans.
These are a must for every detachment. Movement's everything. They are infiltrate is an insane roll. Scout's a less good roll, but when you attach it to infiltrate, truly insane roll.
Yeah.
They also get a
like
free rocket launcher. Yeah, you can give them strain swords if you want to play them Blood Angels and have them do some damage. They throw grenades. When we talk about movement being the thing, denying movement is the key, and these guys are key at move block. Go first into a monster mash vehicle list, something that can't move over infantry, or you want to put these guys exactly where Angron's going to be, so he can move 20 inches over these guys, but he has to land in a specific spot to charge what he wants. And you can just put 5 dudes in his way. Can't deal with those. The only downside is they move 6, but that's not much of a downside.
Yeah. So what do we think of the models? You guys like the models?
I do. I
they're
think
good.
they give a really good distinction because these guys aren't Space Marines yet, and you see it in the models, like in the guy on the bottom left with the heavy machine gun.
That guy's so cool. I love him.
There's a really cool variety in them. It gives them a lot of personality. I like Cyclops in the top right there.
Again, back to rule. The guys have a heavy weapon. Like they could pop off. They do some damage.
Mm-hmm.
They're A++ trash.
Yes, I mean that's the point that you're hammering home for a reason. Is normally it's, do I want a unit to be trash? When you're defining a role, right? My unit that I'm putting into this slot is scouts. They are going to go there. They are going to block the enemy from doing the thing that they're doing, and they're going to die, and that's it. But then you also add on to that the asterisk of, oh, also they actually do stuff.
Shoot a rocket launcher 5 turns.
Might
throw
get
grenades
something.
with 5 turns. Yeah. If the other role is if they're near board edge, say your opponent ignores them. All right, they go back into reserve and can come in anywhere on the map.
Super good.
Yeah.
Very, very high skill unit. I think like if you're a really skilled
Yeah.
player in 40k, you can use these very effectively.
2 of these guys can beat a lot of armies. It's insane. Like they're good in every definition, and what they can do into certain skew armies is a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, certain armies you just beat them turn 1.
Nope, you go first into knights. You can't get points. Have fun.
Yeah, the game's over by that point.
I don't know about over, but I get the point you're
But like
making.
effectively, like they just shut down certain things.
Right. Yep.
Mm-hmm. It helps a lot.
So if you're starting a Marine army today, Marcus, you're just gonna snap by one of these kits.
Yep. Don't need more than 15. There's no reason to ever run a 10, but you want 1 to 2.
Kind of a shame that they only come in 10 mans. You can't buy just 5. But hey, if you have a buddy who plays, you could say you want to split a box of scouts, and we both have 15.
You probably want 2 5-man, so you're perfect.
Yeah. So I have for the first time in this range review, I have negative things to say. I'm really positive on Marines. There are factions that I dislike. I promise, but go ahead and someone who thinks positively about these talk for a bit.
No one? Okay. Yep.
Okay, well let's shit on
Yep.
them then.
Let's do this.
The guy kind of reminds me of Arnold from Commando with the big rocket launcher. But there's a positive thing.
Okay, all right. Well, moving on.
No. We're going back. I got some.
All right, go ahead, Marcus.
I like the twin brothers that just have the exact same pose on the left picture.
I didn't even notice that. Oh my god, they are literally just the same.
No, all the guys are the 2 twins. The 2 greatest words.
Do you think I never noticed that? That is so stupid. Dude.
Put it on the website. It's just
I pulled these from GW. This must be the way. I'm so glad you said that.
Hans und
So that's-
Franz.
You think they finish each other's sentences like, "Prepare to die, heretic." You know.
the fact that these guys are end of 9th edition is truly sad. Like
Yeah.
Jesus, like the fact that they had to buff their roles. So competitive Marine players own these guys because they had to because they were insane.
It just feels like they missed a mark somewhere in like their financial projections, and they're like, "Let's throw a Marine kit together, rush through production."
Some guy brought his kid's Nerf gun and he's like, I want to do this. Why?
Yeah. If I were to like to try and say like, you know, if you're out there and you think these are super cool, this is all subjective. So, you
Except
know,
for me, I'm never
Matt's,
wrong.
Matt's opinion's never wrong. His opinion is correct. Get in the comments. But if this is your favorite Marine unit, you do you, man. Okay? This is your favorite Marine unit. You get in the comments.
Look at those guys on the right though. Like, there's no weight to the gun. It's a Nerf gun. It's a prop.
Well,
Like,
they are
you
superhuman,
shouldn't be so-
Marcus. They should be able to just wield these things with ease, you know.
Yeah, they should have two of them, one in each hand.
Yeah.
They kind of do. There are two guns attached to each other.
They should have to shoot them by thrusting their pelvis forward.
You should
They
put
were
these
busted.
guns on the flying guy so that whenever they shoot the gun, it like lifts them in the air and they fly by shooting them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be. If these had jump packs, maybe they don't have good rolls. Their indirects, luckily, being made less and less relevant. In the 9th, they were indirect and also anti-tank killers. They were that at the start of this edition.
Yeah, I remember.
No one misses them.
Hopefully
I think
they
they
sold
only-
enough kits now they can just pretend they don't exist.
It's really, really embarrassed for the people that own 30 of these because they can't only run 15 right now.
Sell them, guys. Get in the comments. If you bought 30
Oh,
of
sorry.
these, get in the comments. I want to hear from you.
We should get Brutalis Dreadnoughts out of it.
Yeah. If you know a Marine player who owns 30 of these,
Make sure you never take the other 15 from them.
there's singer-songwriter actresses out there who can really get behind this cause, I think. The Shania Twains of the world singing. Donate 50 cents to your nearest Marine player who bought 30 of these in pity.
Get him some crayons, he's hungry.
Yeah.
Hope it was worth that win.
Jeez. Okay. The last thing I'll say is maybe when 11th edition comes out, we'll get new Devastators. And we're coming to Devastators. I think they're next in this slideshow. Maybe we'll get new Devastators. GW, please, for the love of God. Whoever did the modeling for this, they've got strength. Just throw them at the orc range.
Yep.
These big stupid guns that look really dumb on Marines. If this was a Mega Knob holding this big stupid nothing about this makes sense gun, it'd be amazing. Throw them and all of their silly ideas at the orc range because they're probably a master of making big dumb mechs for orcs or something.
They made, not the best because that same guy looked at Burnas and was like, we could do that.
Did the Burners get a new kit?
No, but they made the Burnas Marines. Those are Burnas.
Yeah. Well, maybe he can do the Burners kit then, and he can just like.
No, I don't want him. He probably didn't.
You'll get a Burners kit from this guy, and you'll like it. I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to insult artists because who knows?
No,
who knows
listen.
what sort of deadline was imposed to make these? But
I have an art degree. I'll insult them.
yeah, you can go there, Matt. All right, I think. All right, let's move on. Devastator Squad. This is what I'm talking about. I think what we've kind of agreed is that GW is going away from these like mixed kits, where they have like a heavy bolter, a las cannon, whatever the hell this is, and then a missile
Nope,
launcher.
we keep the creepy babies though. Put those in the Primaris. Make them like giant buff babies. Like where are the Primaris babies?
Like grotesques from grotesques from. You can have a dual kit. It builds Primaris baby ammo haulers and also grotesques from Drukhari.
Yeah, take all the extra weapon sprues from this kit and give me like 13 different poses for these JoJo babies.
Give them bigger wings, for the love of God. These are not load-bearing baby wings.
For a normal kit though, like they're dudes with guns, but the dude with the rocket launcher, sick.
You know, they hold up fine.
There's only so much they had to do with guys with guns the size of their body. They have to look sideways, hold a gun a certain direction. Flash gets all have the same pose. We saw what they can be, and it's the sniper dudes we just looked at.
Eliminators.
Eliminators.
Yeah.
That's the future. We could do that with dudes with big guns.
I think this guy and every, like, he's already a thing, right? The Eradicators.
That's a grav gun, son.
This is a grav gun. Okay. I didn't know what this was.
We can have a grav dude unit.
Hell, dude. Just give us a Devastator squad that can build every single one of these as a 5-man or a 3-man.
Well, the issue is with this kit, it came with one of each weapon, or maybe two. Like, you couldn't even build...
That's the way the Havoc kit. That's the way the Havoc kit works.
Yep. So, thank goodness that this is going away.
Screw this entire era of...
People like gun options, but, like, there's one good gun option.
So, say you need, for your competitive 40k army, you need... And WYSIWYG matters, right? I think you can only take 4 Marines with actual heavy weapons in the squad, and then this guy's like the aspiring champion. So what you do is... Just to get 4, you need 4 of these kits.
And might have 2
one unit. Oh yeah, you might be able to build 2. But if you can't, that's even bigger travesty. But if you can, okay, you only need 2 now. So then you need 6 of these to make 3 units of 4 las cannons. So I'm really glad that they're doing away with it and making it eliminators or whatever. I hope whenever they do the 11th edition launch box, and I'll let you talk here in a second. I hope when they do that, they get rid of this kit, and they give us fucking Grav Marines, dude. Those would be sick. Or las cannon Marines. As Devastators.
We haven't seen Grav in a hot minute, and it's overdue because Grav guns are sick as hell.
Honestly, all 3 of these would get me excited. A heavy bolter squad, a las cannon squad, or a Grav squad would be sick. And just 3 of them.
Well, heavy intercessors are kind of the bolter squad now, so I can see that.
Oh, yeah. Like the Gravis Marines, you mean?
And we kind of got a rocket launcher squad. It's kind of
right.
Like
these derpy dudes are the rocket launcher squad. Maybe give us these 2 in Gravis armor.
You give us a Gravis armor Grav, yeah.
Yeah, and just call them the Gravinators. Gravinator squad.
I think a very big concern is how many more synonyms. Devastator, Desolators, Eviscerators, Escalators. Obliterators.
It's like the basement of GW, like in the hallway where the light is like a incandescent bulb from the 90s. It's slowly swinging back and forth and flickering on and off, and there's a typewriter in the corner with a heavily earmarked book of synonyms for 40k synonyms. There's just a skinny, pale vampire kid in the corner just... I don't have any more names. Leave me alone.
The day they run out of names, that's when we get 40k end times. And then you reset the universe.
Like a Stellinator, Drukhari. No, those are other.
Yeah, Drukhari.
No, we need the Marines.
Oh, God, we already used that. Well, they still got Conflabulator. Give me Grav Marines called the Conflabulators.
We got the Percolators.
The Percolator, yeah. That'll be
that's a good one.
The Science Marines that are slowly titrating. I don't care what they call them. Just give me some Gravis Marines.
We're due.
Gravulators. Gravulators.
We still have more models to come for Space Marines.
Ovulators.
No, not that.
The Coagulators.
Oh, I mean the 11th edition launch box. It'll be Marines and some other faction.
Yeah. Yep.
I was listening to Liam Dempsey today. He put out a podcast, and he said in that episode, I don't know how true this is, but he said that the rumor is that it's Space Marines and Orcs is going to be the launch box for 11th.
Yeah, rotate them out. It's going to be Space Marines and something. And again, we still have models to come for this edition. I guarantee there's more Space Marine models to come.
Yeah, and that's fine, but I don't care that it's going to be Marines again. I'm fine with that, but I hope it's not Orcs, right? What are they going to add to the Orcs range? I know you're a big Orc.
An update. It'll be an update, I think. Like
an update to what?
They don't need to update.
Like the only kid I could think.
Regular knobs.
Knobs, maybe.
Flash kits kind of have a shit kit. They look great, but it's a shit kit to build.
Okay, well, that's fine, right? We can think of options that Orcs may need, right?
Not need. That's the whole thing. Orcs need nothing.
Yeah, compared to Eldar. With Warp Spiders, which I'm assuming tomorrow we're probably going to get reveals for Eldar. And there's probably going to be a bunch of different aspect warriors that we get. But there's still a shitload of stuff in that Eldar kit and in that Eldar range that's like literally Matt's like when we were first getting back into 40k, and I was building the rest of Matt's army and putting the the super glued
Hyper glued, please.
hyper glued the wood glued.
We gotta start spreading that trademark. You know, we're gonna be making millions off of that.
I don't want to go on this tangent right now, but I'm trying to finish this thought. When I was putting those together, and I put together one of those tanks, the hover tanks, I was like, this is a great kit.
The
Going
fire
through
prison.
it. Like, I can't remember if it was what the tank was called. One of the Eldar tanks.
Yeah, probably a fire
That
prison.
kit is from 2003.
Yep.
That kit
And that's
has
the
not changed since Matt was a child using wood glue and super glue combo to put it together. So that is the same kit. So when I think of orcs, there's no kit in orcs that's still like that. There's no kit in orcs that's like that. You know, I'd like to see a better boys kit, right?
But we just got one. We just got one tonight.
But that's a shit kit, right? It's a bad kit.
It's
And, like,
not awful. It's just like
the reason it's bad is because you can build 5 boys
Yeah,
with melee weapons and 5 boys with shooters, right?
there's like
And this is already a long tangent, so we can move on. But
it's got the devastators.
I can see a reason why they could go with orcs, right? There's things they could do in
Yeah.
orcs to refresh it. But Tyranids prior to 10th edition needed a range
Yeah.
refresh.
And they get it.
They did, yeah, and it was great.
Great
Necrons prior to 9th, same thing, you know. But like we look at 11th edition. I mean, World Eaters is still half an army. Thousand Sons is still half an army, and keep in mind, Thousand Sons are pre-Primaris. They are still tactical marine scale.
They still haven't got a codex, so we don't know what they're going to get this edition.
Well, I suspect, and what I would do if I were in GW's shoes is I would give them a new Scarab Occult Terminator kit to make that larger, and then I would just do the rubrics through Kill Team, and I would just say this is a Kill Team update for the rubrics. Have at it.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
That's my point. Is there's all these like Votan, half an army. Why isn't the 11th edition launch box? And we don't know if it's going to be orcs, right? That's just a rumor that I heard from Liam Dempsey, so who knows? But like, if it's orcs, it just seems like Drukhari could use a range refresh. All their models are from 7th edition, like, and they still look good.
It's one of those things that's just speculation. So
yeah. But anyway, yeah, tangent over. I look at the Defiler kit too for CSM, and I'm like, as a CSM player, I'm like, we could use more tanks or a new Defiler kit or something, you know, like a new Hellbrute. Anyway, someone save me from myself here. Someone else talk about suppressors.
You can't even buy the kit. Like I don't know how you get this model.
I think these guys are cool.
I think they're super cool too. I had to go to Google to find this. Like, I couldn't get this. This is not on the GW website.
I don't know. There's a way. They're like part of a collection or something you have to buy, or like a box. They don't. You can't buy them individually.
Well, they came in the 8th edition launch box, right?
Yeah, that's the only place you can get them.
Yeah. So figure your shit out, GW. Release this as a 3-man.
They're really cheap right now. Like I think people like them in the Blood Angels Up Alley detachment. They're the cheapest Space Marine unit that has deep strike, even cheaper than Southern Sisters, I believe. You know, they have a role. They can kind of shoot. The rules semi-relevant, but as far as the rules, yeah. If you like the other jump aggressor unit, these guys are pretty cool.
They're awesome.
I think they're really
That's
cool.
how you do like big guns. They have the flight stand, so it gives more room for the gun. Super cool.
Yeah.
We have all the extra fin stabilizers on the jump packs and stuff.
I've seen people do cool things with both versions of these because there's just a lot more work with, so you can get the guns in a lot quicker.
Yeah, you can do the sweet ass Wing Zero pose from Endless Waltz and then shoot the double buster rifle.
It's
Do the
pretty
Zudo pose.
I don't think anybody knows what you're talking about.
No, they know.
sweet. No.
They know.
Okay.
Hashtag 90s kids.
I'll say I think the guns are a little too big for my taste. I think they're like...
No, I think these are like the perfect length of big cannon.
Yeah. Anyway, let's keep moving.
There we go.
Yeah.
He's got insane.
The Indominus launch box, like, people talk about the value of the Indominus launch box, but they very rarely... Well, actually, I'm sure they talk about the overall model quality too. But Indominus, I think, was just an S tier time to be in the game.
Lineup,
Like,
you know?
there's something to be said for GW's success through COVID, and I think some part of that success can be just attributed to the fact that this launch box came out, and these models look incredible.
Rules-wise, whatever, but they go in transports. This is so cool. Great poses.
Yeah,
Got lots of leather work.
they're probably, it takes some time to paint them up, but there's only 3 of them, so you can really take your time with them and get them looking nice. Put some helmets
They're
on
awesome.
them.
That shield.
I don't know if I put it on here, which is a failure, but there is a Blade Guard captain too. Like a,
I think we saw the ancient.
we saw the ancient, but there's a captain with a relic shield, and
I think it's just
he is super cool.
I don't know if we
So
have a picture of him.
you people out there that are watching this, go look that guy up because he's very cool. If you can still get a copy of him, he might have only been in Indomitus. He is insanely cool too. These guys are some of my favorite Space Marine models. I've said this a couple times in this, but Dark Angels are in my future maybe, but this is like what I think of when I think of like Dark Angels or Black Templars or like some of the
100%.
successor chapters, and they just look really, really good. They're so obviously veterans. They're just sword and board dudes. It's super cool.
Yep, there's nothing else as cool as them. If you want ground guys on the ground that you can just tell are different than everyone else, these guys are the.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. They absolutely avoid that problem we mentioned of guy, lieutenant, captain character. Like these guys, super well designed.
Yep, they're great bodyguards. They do a lot.
They've been good in the game, yeah. Like that's
They're
another
fine right
thing
now.
to say.
Yeah, they were really good in 9. They could hit. They could take a hit. A little bit worse at doing that now. More of a sense of Marines not always being a great melee unit, but a melee army rather. But
Yeah, but I think power swords are good. Maybe like if you're in the armies that you care about melee, like Blood Angels and stuff, you have other options that are probably better. But
I think Dark Angels have their own version of Blade Guard units, so they don't see them.
yeah,
I've seen them
well,
in Space
they have
World.
inner circle companions, right?
Yeah, which are very cool as well.
Yeah, and we'll probably talk about that. That's probably our next video, but
They're not bad though, so you could definitely run them, and they'll look insane, and it won't matter because they're awesome.
yeah, and maybe inner circle companions get a buff or get it. No,
And us Minions are really good.
no,
That's
but
the
I meant
problem.
get a nerf. I mean, I meant to say.
True.
Maybe they'll get nerfed and these guys will be better, but I don't know. But the point I'm making is, at least in 9th edition, they were really good. They've had a place in 10th edition, as I understand it. Maybe not hyper competitive, but
Don't ever buy models for the rules. They were making fun of that for the Nerf gun Marines.
yeah.
Rules change. A model that looks cool will always be cool, and you'll be happy to own it. Doesn't matter if it's on a shelf. Like that's what these things are there for 99% of the time. Get stuff that's gonna look cool on your shelf, and you get to play with it occasionally.
Yeah, and if you get these painted up well and you spend some really good time on them, and you can really be proud of them. They're really awesome.
These guys could be a centerpiece easy.
Yeah, centerpiece maybe not, but
as a unit, like a 6-man with a really cool captain, like that's a centerpiece.
Yeah, I think so
for sure.
New Stern Guard.
I also like these guys.
I don't think I've seen these guys.
They're brand new.
They're
They
really
came out
cool.
edition.
They came out in Leviathan.
Cool gun options.
Really cool.
Rules wise, one of the most perfect game for about a month before you get hot fixed. But as far as with Marines with guns, there's a lot of things going on here.
They remind me of Chosen in a lot of ways, where they're rife to be really strong in the game, just because of the point of the unit is to be like a flexible, all-purpose elite unit. That generally is a decent unit in most armies. What color scheme is this?
That could be. It's not the Iron Fist. The other, not the Imperial Fist. Pedro Cantor's Crimson Fist, I believe.
Crimson Fist. This is really cool. Yeah, he does have a Crimson Fist. So
cool guns. Little crotch capes are awesome.
Oh yeah, he's got the big hand just behind the.
Oh yeah. The big Crimson Fist.
Yep. Yeah, I pulled that. My Crimson Fist.
The Crimson Chins.
Shout out 90 kids. 90s kids.
That's 90s kids. If you know, you know. Hit me up in the comments.
Very godparents. Yeah, no, they're great.
Yeah, I'd say. Worlds wise, who knows?
I'm sure they'll have a place moving forward. Okay, so if War Gear remains free, if it stays an AOS type game, right? And by that I mean like you pay for the unit and then you can put whatever War Gear on it you want. These guys will always probably have a place, right? Like because you can just throw weapon options into the kit and
Even though they have all these guns, there's two kind of guns, like Sternguard bolters or Sternguard combi weapons. So like the combi Malta and combi flamers used to be completely different guns. They're kind of all just one or the other. So modeling again, model what looks cool.
well, I didn't know
The
that, but
rules.
yeah.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah.
Very cool. It'd be cool to get together a Marine unit. Like, if you like the Marines themselves, it'd be cool to have maybe a couple units of these guys sprinkled in with your less elite Marines. Like, you know, I don't know if you're building like a flavor type list, you could really go ham on these guys. This could be Asmodal the Grand or something, you know, and you could really kind of go all out.
Oh yeah, these guys are cool. Company heroes.
Yeah,
Company
they're dope.
Heroes. Great game. World War II shooter. Yeah.
This kit must have been really new too,
I
right?
think it's pretty new. Yeah, there was an issue with them not being able to get specific leaders, but a cheap unit that does more damage than it should. That's a lot more durable than it should because it gets -1 to wound if it's being led. It has decent OC. Has a unit in there, a guy that shoots pretty hard, a guy that punches really hard.
So
I think it's actually only
you
the
field
four-man.
this. Oh, it's only a form. Okay, that was my
Yeah,
question.
that guy in the bottom right, captain, I believe.
Okay, so it's basically this is the company of heroes, and this is a captain, Space Marine captain.
Yep. So a little less cool because that guy in the bottom right is pretty cool.
Look at this Dark Angels paint scheme. Look at this in particular. How cool is that?
That flag guy is awesome.
I think you get the captain in the kit. Do you?
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, so
I
this
think
is
he looks way cooler without a helmet. He is awesome. Holy crap.
Yeah, like we talk about helmets, like yeah, but maybe not.
This guy, it works. Guy next to him on the left there, yeah, maybe put a helmet on. Old Baelai there.
Have a taste
Okay,
of this, Spider-Man.
Okay, I was saying we're cool. Screw you.
What do you mean, wear a helmet?
Unless that eyeball actually shoots laser beams, put a helmet on. Oh,
The guy in the background with the robot hand.
Yeah,
cool.
this guy. That's the thing is like we got a picture of this guy, we got a picture of this guy, we got a picture of this guy. These guys look dope. I want to zoom in on them. Like I think when I pulled this from GW's website, I pulled this. You could probably like look at these individual models, but man, this guy's sweet. This guy's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm okay with this direction too, as someone who like suffers through painting. But if I have to paint 5 models versus painting like 15 of these guys, this would be
That's how you do
more.
elite.
Yeah.
Get this. It's such a cool kit.
Yeah.
Like, why ever buy a captain? We could buy this. One, the captain's cool. Look at that guy. He's the bottom right.
Yeah, he's dope. He's dope. He's got weapon options too. You can build him with plasma.
That might just be a certain angle. I actually like the fist a lot. The guy with the power fist pointing.
This guy.
Yeah.
Ah.
Oh,
It's like, where'd you get these scars? It's like, well, handrail safety is really important on a Imperial Dreadnought. Oh, you didn't get that from fighting Tyranids? No, I just fell down a flight of stairs. Very sharp stairs.
In the Grimdark future, there are no handrails.
Yes, there are no handrails. Yeah. I think we looked at this guy before. You might be able to buy him separately, but I do like him.
Or you spend $30 and get all of them.
Yeah, I don't.
More.
I think this kit's like $60, but.
Yeah, I mean that's what I said. Like,
Oh yeah.
65 for a character and 4 really cool dudes.
Yeah.
And here's the new Terminators.
I love Terminators.
Yeah.
It's one of these things that I don't think the picture does the justice. I think they look really good on the table with their new scale.
Whenever I first started playing 40k, I kind of thought they were stupid. But they're just one of those models that's grown on me. Now they're my favorite thing in any 40k faction.
And these are just regular Terminators, so we still have Assault. Hopefully we still have Assault Terminators.
I'm guessing for the 11th edition launch box, we're probably going to get Vanguard Vets and Assault Termies.
Oh, I can't wait for those. These guys are cool. They are probably the lesser, like you compare your Assault Marine Terminator to your standard Terminator. I think the shield and hammer are so iconic.
Yeah.
But not to take away from these guys, they're pretty solid.
Well, you saw they did Deathwing Knights for Dark Angels, and I'm
slathering
on them this recording, but if they can maintain that level of detail, that level of scale, and kind of bring that sort of vibe to bog standard Terminators, I'm all for it.
I think that paint does a lot because I think that black guy in the background is a lot better looking. I think he looks better than the Ultramarines because I think the single best looking Terminators are the Dark Angel. I think that scheme does a lot for that army.
Yeah.
Rules wise, it's kind of expensive. They're a unit that doesn't really have a purpose, sadly. Like, they deep strike, but like they're too expensive to do actions. They're durable, but they'll still die in the open.
They are just outshined by different Terminators.
Journalist is master of none, and that's unless you're dirt cheap, you don't really have a point, sadly.
I mean, still, if I'm thinking Imperial Fist, right?
Oh yeah, you want
My Imperial Fist army starts with Terminators.
they should be in every collection. They're so iconic.
Yeah.
When I first started, I think it was in the rule book or it was in the codex, but it talked about how I think nowadays when they talk about the Big E versus Horus fight,
Yeah.
the original one that I read, it was a Terminator that like comes running in out of nowhere and saves the Emperor and then gets absolutely obliterated and atomized, and it's like that's the coolest thing I've ever read in my life.
And since
The
then,
Terminators are automatically awesome. I think nowadays they're saying that it's Olanius Pyle now. He was like some perpetual that saved him or something.
Yeah.
But
He was
it's a Terminator that saved him.
Isn't that the lore? Like, it's just always a different person, depending on who's telling it.
I think that they've changed it so many times, but
Well, no, it's the whole lore. Like, everyone says it's their guy. Like, it was like Guardsman.
no, it was
wasn't
Terminators.
custody.
It was a Terminator that was awesome.
Yeah. Any given.
And he had Wolverine claws. Because that's the best weapon for Terminators is Wolverine claws that have lightning in them.
That's
Watch
one
out,
thing
Pop.
I love, and we'll say this now. That's one thing I love about 40k lore is it is super. Like the narrator is, you have to be suspect of the narrator. Like it's an unreliable narrator. Like when you're listening to a Dark Angel tell it, it was Servius Glaxendarb of the first company of Dark Angels that saved the Emperor. And when you're listening to the Imperial Fists, it was our yellow-clad Terminator storming forward to save the Emperor. Yeah.
I love it. I love the fact that 40k is basically like not really history. It's really just stories.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's 10,000 friggin' years ago. Like,
So
like
much
it's all
of-
myth. It's all myth at this point. Unless you're a Chaos Space Marine, where you're in the warp and time means nothing.
That's why Cyphus Kane is the cool thing.
That's why CSM is the coolest faction.
By 240 Crude Hounds for the coolest faction. We're going to come back to it.
I'm just picturing like that battle in lore. It's like the first company arrives on the planet for the first time and like just, oh god, it's nothing but dogs. It's like that.
Oh my god.
It's like an Rick and Morty episode where they're like looking for a new planet and it's like, oh look, it's raspberry on a cob. It's like, get back to the ship. Everything is on a cob. Yeah.
The
dogs are on the comms.
Yeah.
The whole planet's just one big Crude Hound.
Yeah. When we talk Tau, Piper
There's the
Makes
exception.
has some exceptionally high quality STLs, I think, that are great proxies for Tau specifically. So we can talk about that. There are still models from the GW range that I like better, and then the Crute range especially, I think, I would still go with the Crute range. I would still go with GW. Worth bringing up.
Oh. That's one of the things you're like, no, those guys don't have much different than the old ones. And then you see the old ones like, oh my god, they're so much better.
That's the guy that saved the Emperor right there.
Yeah.
I think they easy to kill me. Let me die.
Please.
This is that exact moment right before he's atomized. Just
Nothing but pain.
Yeah, exactly. He's not attacking. He's just standing there ready to die for the Emperor.
Oh,
I think these guys are cool. I
can't wait for the new models.
Yeah, that's the thing is like these guys, they look derpy relative to the old Terminator or to the new Terminators or whatever. When they get their new models, I think they're just going to blow them out of the water. I wonder if they're going to keep these square shields or they're going to go big like Blade Guard.
Oh, I hope they get big because honestly, like they put the ugliest models up front. Those two guys in the back, fine. Like they got not squared poses. They kind of have the shield up. Those guys look cool.
Yeah.
That guy in his center is just been like, oh,
Yeah.
looking like a Warhammer fantasy dwarf.
Yeah. They're short. So you put them on the table, these are about the same size as the regular Primaris Marine. That's the only thing you can really spot. On the table, they still probably look really good. If you have a full pre-Primaris scale army, they're still going to look great. But, yeah.
Yeah. My 5 look good. I have 5 guys, and they look fine.
Oh, yeah, you got Salamander's ones, right?
Yeah, they look good.
Yeah, they look
Still-
totally fine. I wouldn't buy these unless you're trying to collect.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're trying to fill out your collection, you know, get them while they're still available. You know, you probably can still find them after they go off the web store, but
Those older models will be around.
yeah.
You can still get 1990s orcs.
There's a lot of YouTube channels out there just dedicated to painting old models and looking at old models, and like there's a reason for that. There's a nostalgia factor associated with these, and there's a certain iconic look, and if you're looking for that iconic look and you're looking for an old style Marine army, maybe you're interested in these. Otherwise, I would definitely wait until 11th edition. We're like 18 months out probably, so not too long to wait in the grand scheme of things. And
Again, we could have these at the end of 10th for all we know.
yeah, that's very true. It's all speculation. We don't know if these are coming in 11th. We don't know when they're coming, but I'm assuming they're going to get updated.
I think compared to some of the other older ones, I think these guys are cooler than, a tactical squad. But yeah,
100%, yeah.
when you compare these guys to like Primaris stuff, you can really see.
They didn't have to do much to update it. Just made them bigger, and that's all it really is.
They really just need that.
Yep, and I'm glad they kept the.
When
core
your big
design
guys are
features.
smaller than normal guys, that's a bit of trouble.
We're gonna do Grey Knights, and when we do Grey Knights, we're gonna just basically spend the entire review talking about like how we can't wait for them to update the entire range. But
Cannot wait.
yeah, I'll probably end up buying into a Grey Knights army just because they'll be super cool. The same is true of these. Like I'll wait, but
Yep.
yeah, same with these guys.
Oh god, I cannot wait for the Primaris line. These guys look good. Like the scale's off because you know what they look like, but like full shields, weapon options, good poses for old Marines. Like these guys are the coolest things 20 years ago. And they hold up now for that reason. The issue is a Primaris Marine. Like you could make these guys probably like with get the new jump assault intercessor jump pack, says poses, put some cool weapons on them. But like I can't imagine what these guys are gonna look like.
Oh, I did that. Remember, Marcus? I took.
Yeah, they look good.
I believe it was the Reavers kit, and I added shields and I added lightning claws, and I did them for my white scars with Primaris scale, and they never painted them up fully. I just primed them, but they looked fine, and you could totally do that, or you could wait until they get their new kit. You're dying to have them right now for competitive reasons, right?
No, there's no reason. Blood Angels with the soul arm them can't take them anymore, or the character that can lead them can't. Because I believe there was the Sanguinary Guard jump back that led them, and I think he went the way of the Dodo when the book got updated. And they went up in points. Yeah, they're wait for the new models.
Yep.
Does that guy have Wolverine claws or does he have finger claws?
This guy.
I think they're Wolverine claws.
What's the difference?
Wolverine claws look cooler than finger claws. That's about it.
They come out of the knuckles versus his fingers
Yeah.
are just claws.
Yeah.
I think his fingers might just be claws. So I hate him.
Whoopsie.
Whatever.
This is a cool sword.
But that guy has a beak helmet.
Bye.
Bye
5 for 5 helmets.
Yeah.
Dude, tell you guys, beak helmets are coming back. Invest now.
Horus Heresy.
Wasn't that like a lore thing where orcs called Space Marines beakies, but now they don't even have beaks?
They did in Horus Heresy. That was like there's a lot of those. That was like the original Mark, some kind of Mark helmet. But
I don't know. To actually answer your question, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that was a thing.
let's move on. Yeah, that because I saw these guys. I want to talk about. They're so cool. Bressers are so cool.
Hulk hands.
You got Hulk hands. You got rocket missiles. Flamethrower. One is slightly less cool because it doesn't have the rocket launchers, but it's still a dude's flamethrower fists.
Yeah, I'm just picturing these guys at like the vanguard of a Tyranid assault wave coming in, and these guys are just standing there in a line, and then they unleash a volley of their Hellstorm rockets, and then put their bolt guns up and they're just unleashing hell, and it's just the whole vision of that, the whole idea of that is super cool.
Yep, perfectly competitive. Like Eradicator's kind of taken their job because Calgar, both Gladius and Vanguard, this unit with Infiltrate turns out it's really good.
I mean, these guys still have a place in a lot of
Mhm.
different attachments, right? Like the
Yep, Rigger Flames can do some good stuff with them if you want to do a Flamer one. A little bit expensive. They are 100-ish points, maybe a little bit less for a 3-man. You take it to 6-man. They go inside transports.
they have power fists.
And they have power fists, point link power fists.
Yeah,
And they
like
have relevant guns.
they hit. So like if you go in on them in melee, you think, well, okay, maybe the flying dudes with the plasma guns, you maybe think, well, they're not that good in melee. They're just good in melee too.
Mhm.
The issue is with really all of the graphics armor is the 3-up armor. They're T6, which is nice, but they're not as good as cover. Like the jump between a 2-up save and a 3-up save cannot be overstated. You go from being able to never die to AP0, AP1 guns to you will die to AP0. Like you'll just start taking losses where you should. Not where you should, you will.
Are these guys 3 wounds?
The R3 wounds.
Yeah. So a little pricey, but I don't
Yep.
necessarily. They weren't the most amazing thing in that list that I played against, but they were extremely cool. So
They're really cool. And like I said, they can be competitive. They just support. It's just like you don't particularly want 18 of them because it's really hard to support 3 units of 6 of these guys.
well, I think that was in 9th edition. I played them, and I was using
Mhm.
the -1 to wound Terminator brick from CSM, and
Oh yeah, that's not. They're not
they
doing
didn't have any. Yeah, that guy did not have fun. He was running, I think, 3 of these, 3-3-mans.
We all thought this was what was going to replace Terminators. Really, we know they're not, and that's all because they're super cool as real.
I want to paint them up as Imperial Fists. I can picture these being a key piece of any sort of faction.
Mm-hmm.
From a perspective, having a Space Marine collection, these guys are awesome.
Yeah, really. 9th edition came out, I believe.
I'm not
8th.
sure. We're definitely in the Combat Patrol in 9th edition for Blood Angels.
Yeah.
And I think I had
Chef's
some.
kiss. Chef's kiss.
Yep.
Speaking of chef's kiss,
I think these guys go a bit too far.
2 chefs. No. 2 chefs kissing. This is amazing. This is the
I
coolest
think they need to
goddamn
go even farther. I think these guys should have hands, but then like over top that are even bigger hands.
thing. Yeah.
I think that is Matt. There is.
Those are like drill bits. That should just be like a giant hand on top of a hand on top of a hand.
There's hands, but look right below the drill bits. There's a hand. There are stendo arms.
There should be another one.
I think they should have
They're-
they should have wheels on the front. Like those shouldn't be drill bits. They should be a wheel, and they could just turn into like a car, like a
Yeah, they could be
transformer.
Transformers.
Assault
this is
Centurions,
the
roll out! They just sort of.
It's one of the
You're
things
gonna
that
go this far, like put the goddamn helmet on the gun.
Yeah, this is the best meme of like, why isn't this guy wearing a helmet? Like, it took him 18 hours to load into this armor. It's just like, Tim, and there's like a servitor over here running out of batteries with his helmet. He's like, God damn it, no time!
I want to see a guy make this costume and wear it to like Warhammer Con.
Yeah, it's like the Idiocracy clip where he can't even fit through the door.
Like, can those knees move?
It's just gonna have to be 2 cosplayers, one on top of it, like on their shoulders.
Oh, it looks like there's. It looks like there's 2 Marines. It looks like 2 Marines trying to get into the movie.
Yeah, yeah, we're of age. Yeah, these are a 10 out of 10 for me. In general, I think if you can get as many Assault Centurions into your list as possible, you win the game just by participating. Like, damn, these guys are amazing. I hope they never do away with these. I don't know how old they are.
I don't know. I think they came out in 7th edition. They
I
were
can definitely say they're not 3rd edition.
Yeah, they're
I hope that helps.
semi-new.
They seem like they're a little older than.
Yeah, they're not 8th. They're 7th for sure because they were a menace. They've been a menace a lot of their life. The Assault and Centurion variant, not much roll currently because it moves 4 inches and doesn't deep strike.
It's got to be 7th edition because I believe the Oblitz came out in 7th edition too, and I think they were just the Chaos versions of this.
I hate to say Obliterates are so much cooler, but they're so much cooler.
They are, I mean, but these guys are also super
They're
cool. To me, this is peak 40k. I want my Marines to be in a giant off suit without a helmet on. Like, to me, this is super cool, super 40k.
I do kind of want it to be up there because I do want to see the version of this.
Yeah, I want to see. Unironically, I want them to be giant gorillas. Like, I want them to use these arms. I want them to use these arms to move around.
Yeah, if they leaned farther into it, I think they'd actually get a lot.
There's something there. Like, use their fists and then, like, have Doc Opp drill things.
I mean, this doesn't even look, to Matt's point, these are drill bits. Like, it doesn't even seem like a weapon. It seems like a mining suit more than anything else. Maybe that's what I'm keying on your point there, Matt. I don't know if that's what you were saying or not, but maybe make these into, like, how cool would it be if this was a giant broadsword, or like a from Pacific Rim where it's like Rocket Fist, like with rockets on the back of the fist. It's like
now we're talking.
So all the same stuff.
But these actually have relevant rules. These are the prime unit on Vanguard, the Vanguard spearhead.
Because you can bring them in and poop them out.
Well, yeah, they can deep strike. Rules, they're kind of less cool than their assault. Like, it makes more sense if they're such more functional. Like, you can have a slow shoot, kind of, because they can move through walls still. Like, they're essentially tanks, but for some reason, this can move through walls.
I'd like to point out how Slaneshi it is, the god of excess Slanesh, that they have rockets for nipples. Continue.
It's fantastic, but oh god, yeah, they're very expensive, but they do their job very well. Vanguard makes them more durable. It makes them mobile. It's one of those units that it's not a good unit for basically anyone else. It's too slow. It's durable, but like for the points, 70 points a model. I think it's 200. It's like almost 400 points for a full 6 minute of these. That's a fifth of your army. It's a fifth of your army that's not that hard to kill, and it's very slow. So when you're picking an attachment, stuff that can fix those weaknesses and make them good is...
Yeah, I mean, it's a decent hammer. There's cheaper hammers, I think, is the point you're making.
There's cheaper hammers for everyone else. As far as long range shooting, tanks are probably better for everyone else, but most tanks can't deep strike. In reality, like, these guys are wanted to kill 3 wound bodies. These guys with the rocket launchers and the twin las cannons, these guys are really top of the class.
Do people hate these?
Yeah, people hate those.
People don't
hate those models.
People don't like the models.
Yeah, I've talked to people that don't like them.
Why not? What's the problem?
It's dumb.
Just bad opinions.
Matt, what's your bad opinion?
Just horrible, stupid idiots.
I think the last games.
I think they should have flight stands.
They should have flight stands. Oh.
If they had flight stands,
that's my hot take of the week.
A little tiny, spindly plastic flight stand.
Tiny little plastic one.
Yeah, made of resin. Far off the base, it's like a half of a centimeter.
Half an inch off the ground, because that's all the higher it can go.
Yeah.
Oh, Rick Doms. There we go. They have like, oh man, those guys in like not jump packs, but like with shoes that hover shoes.
I was picturing a giant rocket on the back of like, I can't control this. I'm going in that direction.
Put these guys on giant segways.
Paul Blart Mall Cop around the battlefield.
Regular sized Heelys.
No, I honestly, like, if you don't like these models, f*** you. No,
in my opinion, if you don't like these models, I get it.
I'm just kidding. If you don't like these models, Matt, that's fine. It's totally okay. It's a subjective thing. You're objectively wrong, but subjectively, you know.
I would like them more if they had even bigger Hulk hands, and each finger was a las cannon, like the Neo Zeong.
That would be dope. That would be extremely cool.
That's an argument to get behind.
The one thing that I'll say that I can kind of understand is, like, these are like a midpoint. You look at Dreadnoughts on one end of the spectrum, and you look at, like, Phobos on one end of the other end of the spectrum, or Scouts, I guess, on the other end of the spectrum. This fits somewhere between Terminators or Gravis Marines and Dreadnoughts. And why did we need this step? It's like an evolutionary step that maybe you can prune off the family tree.
That's the missing link.
But I don't
Now we
know.
use it more than ever.
What if you want a tank like a Dreadnought, but this guy hasn't been horribly
To be
mauled
fair,
by
this is-
battle?
In its the other sense, these guys are similar to like the Primaris Terminator idea of these are your giant big boys. And I
Yeah,
think they are pretty cool in that sense. But I like Dreadnoughts more than these guys.
I can get
Yeah,
behind
sadly,
that.
but
I
I'm
think
glad they
Dreadnoughts
both
are
exist.
cooler than these for sure. But I do like them. I do think I do like a good Centurion.
Yeah, I do. I think these guys read better than the assault ones.
I will say they reused the word Devastator. So, fire that pale vampire. He's sacky.
Yeah.
Right.
He doesn't get paid. What do you mean? He's chained to a radiator down there.
Deeper, darker part of the basement.
How do you fire that which is already fired?
Put him into Age of Sigmar basement.
No, please! Come out with the new Soulblight Gravelords. Someone else talk about this. I don't want to spend too much time on this just because it's a tech marine on a gun.
I think I've seen them all on used shelves. They're not many because no one bought them.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to get them.
I hope not, right? Like, I don't think this kind of thing belongs in 40k. Maybe like the argument of, well, it's basically a smash-a-gun from like the Orc Range or whatever makes some sense.
But that makes sense. Like, it's good artillery. It moves slow. Like, how does this guy move this? Does he like have robot legs?
Well, he gets off and he drags it. Yeah. No, I don't know. I have no clue. It's a servo turret. Maybe this thing can walk. Who knows? But
no, smasher guns are 20 times cooler.
and they also make sense for like as towed artillery. Like, you know what I mean? This thing isn't towed. I don't know why this is in the game, kind of thing. In my mind, like this is like if we ever go to Warhammer World, and this is in a diorama, that's to me where this would shine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if you're building a cool ass diorama of like the Siege of Terra, well, I guess that would be not Primaris scale, but.
Or I've seen videos of not like competitive point battles, but like the theme battles. You put all the Space Marines on a base. You have the Tyranids try to overrun them. I've seen stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Like if you're doing some sort of set piece.
Set piece, yeah, that's
kind of game. This would be very cool in that, but I don't think this has a place in competitive 40k, and maybe that's fine. Maybe that's intentional.
Competitive and really hardly collections. Like it is specifically for dioramas.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if you had like some sort of super hyper flavorful Imperial Fists army, where this is something the Imperial Fists pride themselves on, like deploying a fortress on the go. You could really lean into that, but it's sort of. Yeah, I don't know.
We can just move on. I think just as
these are the boys right here. The boys.
I think this is going to be the first time, Marcus, where we disagree. Go ahead and say what you're going to say about this model.
I don't like it. It's not bad. I think it's one of those things that actually does read pretty good in person. Paint job would help. I don't think it looks that great in Ultramarine scheme.
I think they're really funny. I think there's just a couple bros on an ATV. Paint that bad boy with flames on the side.
Yeah.
Spray their mouths with chrome. Witness me.
Yeah.
Throw them at Angron. Have them blow it up.
This is Dirk and Chaz. Just a couple of guys throwing back a few beers, going for a ride on ATV. Yeah, fucking love it, dude. I think it's cool as hell. Like, I don't know why. I can't explain it. I think it's awesome. I'm probably wrong. I know a lot of people don't like these, but like compared to the attack bike, for example.
That's where I'm salty. It's no attack bike.
But like the attack bike it's literally a bike and a sidecar. Tell me that's cooler than this.
This is two Outriders literally
sidecar.
Together.
Like you could paint the Marine in the sidecar as like Robin and the guy in the past. It's like that's so stupid. Like,
yeah. I appreciate that. It's dumber. It has the issue of like this is dumb. It's really dumb.
I think most people agree with you. I don't think this model was particularly popular. I love it.
It's not bad. It's like it has a role in the game. It's really cheap. It's fast. It kind of shoots, but it's.
How quickly does the guy sitting directly underneath a giant Gatling gun go deaf?
Oh, he was. Yeah, he's. No, he doesn't.
Or is he like you put like you put the dead Marines in the Dreadnought, you put the death guys on the ATV?
Yeah. Well, no, he for sure.
Yeah, you can't put that guy without a helmet. That would,
No. We only use hand signals to communicate with Dirk because, yeah, ever since that grenade went
Connecticut.
off his head on Melpernus.
Connecticut, turn right. What?
Yeah.
What?
Right. Yeah. When this is from the Indominus. It's not from the Indominus box, but it came out with that same wave. And there's another model that came out with that same wave. Like the Fire Strike the Fire Strike servo turret came out in that same group too. There's another model that came out where there's a questionable position of a Marine. And I want to see if you guys can point it out, but I will die on the hill of I think this is a great model. I love it a lot. I used to own 3 of them, and I'm not embarrassed about that.
No, I don't think you should. It's dumb in a good way, but much like the devs, like I get it. I get it if you like it. I get it if you don't like it.
Yep. All right.
Super cool.
I like Outriders too. Yeah.
I like it. They're a
I
great
like
upgrade.
these
The
guys.
build like it was bad.
I
but
think people don't like them. I think the general opinion about them is that they're too bulky, they're too blocky, and they don't look like they would work.
that's fine. That's like 40k. It doesn't need to work.
Yeah.
Like it's a bike. Like lean into it. It's a bike. It's not supposed to work.
I said this when we talked about the Chaplain, but like I picture this wheel being able to like distend down a little bit and give them a little more clearance.
I think it does. I bet they like. It looks like they like adjust.
Yeah, like this is a arm that can go up and down with like suspension.
Yeah, I think it does make sense. It's just a matter of I wish they kind of had that modeled on one of those guys, but maybe it looks dumb.
Yeah, maybe it looks like this comes down and this is like still low.
But yeah, they're so big. They're not even that dumb. Like they're dumb because they're motorcycles, got dudes, chain swords. They're pretty cool.
I like them a lot. I think they're even better in person. I think they look really good
Yeah.
in person.
Mm-hmm.
Bikes are cool. Make more bikes.
Yeah, I hope they come out with. We talked about this a couple nights ago, but Ravenwing and for White Scars, like add an upgrade sprue to these to make them a unique unit within those chapters.
Like get those guys because those guys are a little like this whole chain sword, but those guys have a giant spear. Like doing the anime.
They for sure should come out with either a new kit for White Scars that has like giant ass lances on it and like big Mongol themed kind of like regalia. And
we get one guy doing an Akira slide.
yeah, maybe not that, but
Yeah,
No,
no,
I'd definitely do that.
yeah. And then for I really want to see them redo Deathwing or Ravenwing rather because I really want to see how they do. What is it? Black Knights. With this kind of bike
I think
at
so,
this kind of scale.
Be interesting to see. I do like them a lot.
Yep. Anything to add, Matt, before we move on?
I mentioned it with the last one. I think bikes are like one of the iconic Space Marine things, and these ones are just awesome.
Yeah.
They're straight improvement.
Similarly, I want to see them do Chaos bikes.
Mm-hmm.
That Chaos bike kit's from 2003 as well.
Do Votan have bikes?
They
They
do.
have the coolest bike.
Right? Yeah.
They have the grab bikes.
They have grab
Yeah,
bikes.
totally.
Yeah, they're like grab tricycles. But they're very cool. And compared to this, they're basically the same thing as this, but they're like a bike. And they're very cool.
I think Space Marines are iconic with that.
Drop pod.
Something that is so cool that just shouldn't exist in the game and really doesn't.
Super big bastard to assemble. The Chaos version of this with the giant struts on the bottom, what's it, the Dreadclaw, broke me as a person. It's the only kit I've never been. I legitimately gave up assembling. Like I just could not assemble it. It was impossible. I don't know if that's because it was resin recast kind of thing, but it was a nightmare. And the drop pod I don't think is as bad, but yeah, I don't think it has a place in the game anymore. And it is cool.
Those rules. It's super lore cool. Like that's.
I'm never gonna get excited about a drop pod though. Just generally, like I'm not gonna try and complete my collection by getting 3 of these.
They're diorama thing at this point.
Yeah.
I think they're very cool. I'm glad they exist. I mean, I don't play much. I've never seen anyone use them.
So when we first started playing in 9th edition, the CSM version of this was insanely good.
Yeah, I've seen that. I haven't seen like the Space Marine one, but again, I don't play that much.
It
Yeah.
hasn't been good since 7th edition when you can take them for free.
Which is good. We don't want them to be good. We don't need these models.
Mm.
I don't think. This can be represented by rules, right? You can drop them in.
Yep.
This could be a stratagem. We don't need a model for this. I'm glad a model exists for diorama reasons, like you guys were talking about. But
It
yeah,
pretty much doesn't have rolls, yeah. It just maybe
Now we're talking. Smash or pass?
Smash.
Smash.
double smash.
The Dreadnought, I think, is Terminators, Bikes, and Dreadnoughts. I don't think this is my favorite Dreadnought. Mostly
I think
because
this is probably one of the coolest, like, new Dreadnoughts.
yeah, it's the newest one.
Yep, this
You
came
can't
out
beat
with
the
Leviathan.
OG for me.
It does grow every time I look at it. It does grow on. They didn't do much. They improved from the old las cannon missile launcher Dreadnought.
They did with this versus the original Venerable Dreads, and by Venerable Dreads I mean the original box Dread. They basically made it long. They gave it longer legs and they bulked it up. That's basically
Yep.
what they did. And then they changed this carriage a little bit, which makes it look a little bit like a diaper baby, I think is what people
little
call
bit.
it.
And these ones have a claw.
This
There's
one does
different versions
not.
coming
So
up.
there's a Ballistus, a Redemptor, and a Brutalis, and they all have different. This is the shooting one, Matt.
Right now, it's probably the best Space Marine tank. Maybe the Vindicator's better, but it's super cool.
This is the kind of thing that if you see it on the tabletop, it'll change your opinion about them. When I
That's
first got a Space Marine army, I was like, I don't really want a Dreadnought. Like, it doesn't seem like the kind of thing I'd enjoy. Every time I've played a Space Marine army and seen one of these that's been painted pretty well, it's the kind of model that I'll go across the table and just spend a couple, like, 30 seconds or so just looking over the model and being like, hey man, you did a really good job on this. This is a really cool model. Like, good job. Like, we throw around the word centerpiece, and maybe that should only be reserved for Primarchs, but if you're building like an Iron Hands list and you don't have a Dreadnought in it, or you don't have a Dreadnought in your collection, get one, man, because these are super cool, and if you can do the paint scheme really well, you spend a lot of time on this, they look great. They look amazing on the tabletop.
For me, Dreadnoughts are 40k. That's one of the big things.
Yep.
Tanks, are tanks in a lot of different like sci-fi stuff, but a Dreadnought is a Dreadnought. You know what I mean? They're awesome.
Yeah, everything
They
about them.
completely stand out.
The way they look, the way they function, the fact that they're really cool giant off machines, but the lore around them. they took a battle brother who is no longer able to fight because he's lost his goddamn limbs or something. They put him in this fetus, this pool of amniotic fluid, and they hooked him up to a giant war machine so he could continue to fight for the Emperor. And like in CSM, he's literally he's insane because of how long he's been in his sarcophagus for 10,000 years. Like that's what a Hellbrute is. And
Bjorn Fellhand.
Yeah, so cool.
So like everything about these guys is just really cool. And you come across them in the lore, and they're like called stuff ancient Calpurnicus or whatever the hell their names are, and they're always, I stood at Walpurgis. Brother, do you still have courage in there, brother? And it's just, I don't know.
They're sweet.
I'm not making any
I
jokes, but
stood next to Sanguinius.
yes, yeah, exactly. And it's
There's like the one story when the Ultramarines first faced the Tau, and then the Tau examined a Dreadnought, and they're like, this guy's older than our entire species.
yeah.
It's such a cool piece, especially lose one, you're losing a piece of your history too.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they're still just putting them on the front line. Like, they have no issue doing.
It's just they're super cool. And do you remember that Golden Demon? I think it was from like the 3rd edition CSM Codex, where it was the base of the model. I think it was a Demon Prince, and the base of the model was a dead Dreadnought, and the Demon Prince was ripping the
guy out of it.
The guy out of it.
He was ripping the corpse out of the sarcophagus.
Do you remember that? Do you remember seeing that? Those of you
awesome.
who are listening, look up that model because it is amazing. If we talk about centerpieces or something that you could literally put on your shelf as a piece of art, that would be dope. If you want to do a sweet diorama, these guys give you a lot of room because there's a lot of imagination involved with this whole process. They're a model that comes with a story, which I think is...
And that story is Space Marine 2.
God.
Obliterate.
Yeah.
Whatever that
That Heldrake.
monster demon Helldrago.
Off.
I've never seen
Get
anything
your
on.
leave.
I am not spoiling myself on Space Marine 2. I'm literally gonna play through it with
That's
you
the
guys.
only thing I
Oh.
was scoring myself on because I couldn't
was
help
worth it.
myself.
Quick rules rant. Its unit has kind of been fine. I do like where kind of Dreadnoughts are going. Of shouldn't shoot harder than tanks. Their role is to be more durable than tanks. Ballistas right now is a good 30, 40 points cheaper than any other Space Marine tank. It's a little bit slower. It doesn't shoot quite as hard, but it has a 2-up armor save. It's like it doesn't do a lot of damage. It's consistent and it's really annoying to kill. This one's been priced to being good. You're seeing 2 in currently most lists.
So most dreadnoughts have their standard rule is -1 damage.
No, that's just the Reductor. This guy is like real ones if it's shooting certain.
That's lame.
Yeah, they kind of dropped the ball with it. It's good because of the points, but like you get to run it, so you'll be happy with it. That's the thing. Like anything's gonna be good. Like if it has a bad rule on it, don't worry, it'll be good eventually because it's gonna be cheap enough.
Give them all -1 damage. That should just be a dreadnought rule. Maybe it's too good or whatever, but I'm not gonna die on that hill. But
Let's make it do a little bit more damage. Right now, it's kind of just it's 2 las cannons and a couple shots. Like it's a Devastator squad, and
final word on this model, just before we move on. Great spots for transfers too. Great spots for
100%.
freehand. You want to do like a litany on this side, or you want to do like a really fancy. If you're really talented as an artist, you can really use these flat spaces to kind
you want to pin
Yeah,
up.
those are canvases.
Yep.
You want to pin up Gilliman.
Yeah, you want Gilliman on a chaise lounge. This is the perfect place to do that. Yeah.
You want his armor being pulled down by a orc that's back bastardly.
Have his
Ancient.
butt cheek blown up by a van underneath him. He tries to push it down.
Yeah.
That's a mine going off.
Venerable, ancient, whatever the hell this guy's name is. You can really go all out with the gay
His
iconography
name
on the
is
sides.
Ballisticus Dreadnoughtus.
Ballisticus, yeah. Yeah. I am Ballisticus. I stood at Walburgers. Yeah.
I stood for the entire Horse Army.
I stood erect at Walburgers.
Just like General Land and the Land Raider, we have
Yeah.
Mr. Ballisticus.
And this one is named for Brutalitus Dreadnoughticus.
Famed by the Emperor's quote, A2 Brutalicus at the Horus Heresy.
Yes. Yeah, the Emperor was standing here, and there's a giant claw around his midsection as he gets stabbed in the back. E2 Brutalis. The one thing that people don't like about this model is the super extra guns on it. I don't care. I think this is a really cool model.
Yeah.
The only
I think
thing
it's
is
cool.
that I agree with is from a rules perspective, you have to roll all these profiles, which can be annoying, and it is kind of the thing that slows the game down. So I can definitely see it from that perspective. But from a model point of view, I don't care at all.
Prefer the Crush Claw to the Sharp Claw. If you look on the,
Yep.
the first one.
Yeah,
this
I
one
can
here.
see that.
Yeah, the Crush Claw I think is massively cooler.
This one.
No,
Yeah, you
yeah,
get
that one.
both, so you get dealer's choice. All the Dreadnoughts are. I think this guy doesn't scale as well for me. I think that the other guy looks so tall. And
I
just
kind of like him a bit squatter.
Yeah, I do like him. Like they're the same model with different weapons. Rules wise, he's sadly a mostly monster that moves particularly fast, so he has issues.
I can't tell if this is fully extended down, and that's a difference too. Like if we look at
Maybe.
this, is it just perspective?
Yeah. I think a bit.
Okay.
Super cool though.
I have in the Dark Angels review, I have a Deathwing painted one of these, and so that like skeleton bone, and it looks incredible. Again, without spending too much time talking about it, I think these are amazing. This is one of those that I just think is an amazing model. I want to own 3 of them. I want to own 3 of each. I want a Dreadnought army.
Death Marines.
Smash.
Smash.
Smash, smash, smash.
You're a classic, do it all.
This is the original diaper baby.
Yep. Fights decently hard, shoots decently hard, super
Smash.
durable.
Smash.
Stuff like Smash. Cool ass guns. I think he's my favorite.
Yeah, because he's got both, right? He's got the Crush Claw.
Worldwide, he's probably the worst because he's horribly overpriced because every one and their mom was taking 3 of them.
Yeah, they've paid for the sins of the past for sure.
No, they were even then though. They were just not. They were just like, man, if you could kill with tank super well, you definitely weren't killing. Orcs couldn't kill 3 of these guys.
I mean, I've seen a Salamander's one of these that was painted pretty well
They're
on the
insanely
tabletop,
cool.
and again, like it just took me. I had to look at it.
It's so cool. Big plasma gun or big minigun, a fist with a minigun or a flamethrower on it. The little rocket launcher thing on there is not too much. I can see where the Brutalis is. That big dumb turret kind of distracting. That little missile launcher is perfectly fine.
Yep.
Doesn't really do much for me, but it doesn't detract.
Yeah, the only problem with these guys is the rules in terms of the fact that whenever you go to shoot them, you're like your opponent's like, and then you get to the end of one profile, and your opponent's like, all right, well, I guess I'll go to my turn. And then you're like, no, and then you shoot your next profile, and they're like, all right, well, I guess I'll go to my turn. And you're like, no, and you shoot your last profile, and then you're like, psych, it's not my last profile, and then you shoot your 4 other profiles.
There's 4 separate gun profiles in this.
Yeah, so there's the tit guns, right?
Tick guns, you got the fist
guns,
gun, you got the gun, and you got the little anti-air rocket launcher.
Yeah. So it's just a lot, and I get it. Whenever we played CSM and Ultramarines, and you like it rolled through this profile, I was just like taking your word for it. I was like, yeah, I bet it does that. Yeah, I mean that makes sense.
And
you weren't cheating or anything, but like it would totally not blow me away if I went to a table and someone told me 6 games after I played a Space Marine player, oh, that doesn't do that. Why'd your opponent play it that way? I would not be surprised by that at all. Like, I would just take their word for it that their nipple guns have like 66 shots or something. Like, I have no clue, and that's part of the problem I think of these is unless you've built the model and you've scanned the whole model, it's like what am I being shot with again? What is this thing that's shooting from the nipples?
9th edition put way too many guns on every one of his things, and
Yeah.
they all have a profile, and it's annoying to shoot them and waste. And you don't have. That's the thing. Like shoot the big gun, shoot the little machine gun under there because it's a little bit better. You can skip the nipple guns if you want. Rocket launcher is also okay, but
so GW, take that as feedback. The model is amazing. I would smash this model every day for the rest of my life, and we would grow old together, and we'd be sitting there, and I'd be in the hospital holding this claw, and I'd say, thank you for all the wonderful years, you glorious diaper baby.
The crush me daddy.
I'd wait till the nurses left, and I'd close the curtain, and we'd smash one last time, and I like the model is the point I'm making. So that's kind of the only downside I can see, for sure.
Yeah, it's just a little annoying on the table.
Get in the comments if you would marry this Dreadnought and grow old with this Dreadnought. Get in the comments.
You have to go through me first.
Yeah.
We could take 3, so you guys can figure out what to do with that one that's left over. Who this guy?
This is the guy from Matrix 3.
Yep.
And he's doing the
Kung
Fu shooting all over the place.
/ Avatar.
With robots.
This is the guy from Avatar, the bad guy from Avatar.
Yeah.
You the good
Colonel
guy?
Bad Guy.
The good guy from Avatar, my bad.
I don't know. I thought he was cool.
The Wolverine suits from Halo Wars.
Wasn't he also in Dances with Wolves? Weren't these giant Victor Tactical War suits?
Yeah, I think so.
This is what he gives me at the tribe to take out the other side.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and a Winchester repeating rifle for you, and an Victor Tactical War suit for you. Chases dogs.
Dances with both dreadnoughts.
Yeah. I don't have strong feelings about this thing. I think it's just an unnecessary model. Like, I would have preferred them to redo the Hellbrute kit than to come out with this thing. It's like the Phobos Dreadnought, kinda.
Yeah, I can infiltrate. It punches. It's like super cheap right now. Even now, it's like, God, what's it do? Because it doesn't shoot that hard. It does punch pretty hard, but still moves 8.
Modeling perspective, it's just sort of like...
Yeah, if you put some frost... Instead of having that dumb cage, you put like some frosted windows on there so you can't see the f***ing pilot.
Have you done
or have
you seen that done?
I've seen that, and it looks better.
Yeah, I bet that does.
Yeah. This, for me, is, like you said, there's a lot of questionable stuff. I don't think this reads very well as a Space Marine thing.
Yeah, no, that's accurate.
It doesn't have, like, the design language.
Right.
Why does it have a hand holding a pistol?
So you can holster it. I kind of like that concept of it, but like, it's just
what the f***?
Why
Yeah.
doesn't it just have a Dreadnought handgun if you've already got a giant robot?
Exactly.
Tau Crisis suits do that, but that's a Tau thing. Space Marine Dreadnoughts don't have hands holding guns.
Yeah.
This was a 9th edition. This is too many guns. This is definitely, you can tell it's a 9th edition.
That pistol's like right here.
Yeah, like holstered. It's like I kind of like the fact that it has a little hold gun, but it's kind of dumb.
Why isn't it, instead of this, why isn't it he picks up a Marine that's tied to his leg, and that Marine shoots a bolter?
I think it makes sense for Nundums to have the nun sticking out, but it doesn't make sense for this thing to have the guy sticking out.
Not when Dreadnoughts are there and
Not
are
yet.
already dumb enough. It's not cool enough.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't have strong opinions about it being dumb until I saw this. I don't like this at all. The fact that it has a f***ing pistol. Like, that's just so stupid to me. That ruined the model for me, Matt, so thank you for pointing that out. Totally mediocre on it until I saw that. That's just, well, howdy, cowboy. Like, just put a cowboy out of this guy. You know, make this a revolver.
Now, if you had made a
Yeah.
model where it was spinning the pistol, I'd smash it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, pass.
You know, I'm still not opposed. I think it's fine.
And that's the issue when the range is so big. Being fine means you're 50 models down.
It means you suck. Yeah, it means you're not very good. And you know, if I'm trying to build a Space Marine army, and like, why the hell would I buy that over another Ballistus or a Brutalis or Redemptor?
Yeah,
you know?
if you're Dreadnought number 10 and you're not even like there's this other stuff cooler, like you're just so
Yeah.
Like,
Let's talk the
Mary-
Vendread.
smash, 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 smash.
I still love the little guys. They won't have rules.
It just looks so bad on the tabletop now compared
It's
to
so
the Primaris
small.
scale. Like a Terminator is like right here.
That's the only issue.
Yeah,
I
but
think
what about in the opening of Dawn of War 1? When
Yeah.
the Dreadnought smashes through the wall and he says, I've come to destroy you, and then flamethrowers, an orc right in the face, and then murders a million of them with the
You're right,
chainsaw.
Matt. You're right, Matt. If you have a lot of nostalgia associated with this model, you're still gonna love it. And
That's
you know,
awesome.
I still love mine.
maybe you can grab one, Matt, before it goes out of print, paint it up real nice, keep it on your shelf.
Oh, there'll be plenty of the money back.
Yeah.
It's an Eldar and then squishes him in the air and the blood sprays everywhere and it's like,
I stood at Walpurgis. Yeah.
I have come to destroy you.
I've come to destroy you.
Remember that Dawn of War where they had the little when they had the talking in the corner, and the Dreadnoughts picture wasn't properly framed, so you could just you could just see the very top of his head. I am ready, battle brothers, and it's just a little head bobbing in a bucket of water, basically.
I don't know how to set up the camera.
Yeah. No,
He's an old guy. He doesn't know how to use FaceTime.
yeah. He's
Grandpa.
venerable. Yeah. That's the word we use when we're trying to describe an old person without insulting.
Listen, I know she's not your real mother, but I want you to treat her with respect.
Yeah, it's like, well, what do you think of MySpace? Well, it's venerable. Yeah, okay. What do you think of my computer from the '90s? Well, it's venerable. That's another way of saying shitty and old.
Also another way of saying smash.
Credit where credit's due. This is where it all started, guys. This was the original. Our grandparents fought in wars, so we could enjoy
have
these.
this Dreadnought.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Scale is the biggest issue. They just don't. They can't.
Scale is the biggest issue. Yep.
Keep them on a shelf with all First Marine stuff.
Yep. So the Gladiator variants, I roped them all into the same category. I kind of wanted to include a couple examples of them painted in different ways, just to kind of show like what you could really do. I love the grav tanks. I know there are people out there who do not like them.
I love them in real life. Pictures don't quite do them justice. We saw Predator.
Do away with them. I say,
Yeah.
and so like I listened to the Poorhammer podcast, and the Poorhammer guy, who's like the main host, he's like, keep the Rhino forever, keep the Predator forever. I'm gonna go out there on a limb here, get in the comments, get rid of them. They're from an era of the game which we've passed up.
Give them to your local CSM player. Give them to your local sister player.
Yeah, yeah. The Predator is awesome, like on the Rhino chassis, but the game has passed it by. Even the Land Raider, to me, is just it's.
Whoa.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to it. We can talk about it later. But
The Predator is still pretty freaking unique.
so
I
is
do
this
like it.
is this the new Predator?
This is the new Predator. This doesn't replace the Land Raider. It's 100%. Again, the pictures don't do it justice. Recently, probably last year at the Forward, someone had a beautifully hand-painted, like he didn't airbrush it. He did it all hand-painted Imperial Fist Army.
What a madman!
Insane. And he had one of the all Valiant, it looked just amazing. There's not that much on it. Like it has a bunch of guns, but this makes more sense. And it's not.
It has the same problem. It's like you said, Marcus. It's a 9th edition problem of it has so many gun profiles. It takes 20 minutes to shoot this thing, especially if your opponent doesn't know the rules. Like it takes 20 minutes to shoot this thing. Like if we were playing with Matt,
I don't know what you're talking about.
if we were playing
Yeah.
with Matt, his choice to where he would shoot this thing and where he would move it would take 20 minutes, and then it would take 20
Yep.
more minutes for him to shoot it. Right?
And then I would lose my note card for what each gun was, and then I'd put them on the dice part on camera, and then they'd tell me move your cards, and I'd be like, oh whoops, and then I'd move them, but then I'd have 10 more cards for the other guns, and I'd lose those too.
Yeah. So that's like
Yeah.
not a problem unique to Matt, right? That's a problem unique to people who don't
Starting
play the
the game,
game
yeah.
very often, right? And so it's one of those things where this thing does struggle from that.
Yeah,
So,
right now, they were the best tanks at the start of the edition. All variants. The Lancer is an insane anti-tank piece. The Reaper is an insane anti-infantry piece that can hurt tanks. The Valiant kind of doesn't have the rules to make them out as good, which we talked about earlier. You kind of need something to make them out better, but it shoots like 8 of them, so they're super cool. They're kind of just priced for like right now, where there's stuff that was worse than them has gotten cheaper than them and doesn't do their job a whole lot worse.
yeah.
And they're not that much faster. If you wanna pick up tanks, this is. I'm pretty sure you can magnetize them. You can make 3 of them.
I think you can make all variants with just a little bit of magnetization work on these.
Yep. Or you can run 9 of them if you want.
Yep.
Pretty good in Iron Hands. They're good enough in pretty much any. If you want some long range shooting, you don't go wrong. I think there's better pieces. People like the Lancer and people like the Reaper. They're awesome.
It's got good surfaces to work with for transfers. It still has the same sort of silhouette as a repulsor, or as a predator or a rhino. Like it's got the sloped front, the back not so much, but turret. It's relatively the same. It's floating now versus tracked. But to me, this reads more as like the Space Marines get the best shit.
Yep.
This is super. It's a very sci-fi elite tank, and I just think I really like it.
Yep.
I think a lot of people don't. Maybe a lot of people that have played the game for a long time think it's not as iconic as like some of the older models, and that's fine. But yeah,
And like coming from that perspective, like I said, I started 3rd edition. I had Eldar, my brother in Space Marines. For a long time, there was kind of that design aesthetic of grav tanks are alien, humans have treads.
Yep.
And I think that is like a big part of it. But at the same time, like you said, this is a Space Marine tank. It makes it special compared to a guard tank.
Right.
Guard shouldn't have grav tanks, but like Space Marines, well, yeah. I mean, if you have giant dreadnoughts and robots and hover guys, why can't you have grav tanks?
That's the thing, man. Is the Imperium have been fighting the Eldar for 10,000 years. You don't think that they've figured out grav technology? This is a technology that's existed, prior to the Dark Ages. Like, it's old world technology. Like Belisarius Call probably figured this shit out at some point, and that's the whole point of the Primaris ranges. It's more technologically advanced because Belisarius Call has figured shit out and given some of the best stuff to the Marines for the Indomitus Crusade. Like that was the whole point of it. So,
but like it's kind of weird that like a Space Marine is so much more advanced than a Guardsman, but like a Predator tank is basically just a Lehman Russ in regards to it's a tank.
yeah, it's slightly bigger, right? Like that's the only difference.
Predators are smaller than the other thing. They were worse tanks than Lehman Russ. So it's kind of like.
Yeah.
And these aren't, like you said, maybe these aren't considered mainline battle tanks, but I guess lore-wise you could say, Marines, as much as there's only 1,000 of them, there's thousands of chapters. It's like, well, we got to arm another Marine, give them all the same chassis, and they'll figure it out.
Yep.
This is turning a leaf of Marines are back to being the best army Imperium.
Yeah. Yeah, and, the broad appeal of this, if you were to take someone who doesn't know anything about 40k and you were to show them this versus, and we'll talk about the Predator later, but if you were showing the Predator, like, if you were to take a child who's like 9 and doesn't know anything about the game and maybe is at that point where he's mashing together super glue and wood glue and he's going to Walmart with his mom and they're picking out some Krylon paint from the Krylon paint aisle to spray paint their models and completely destroy the detail on them, and
Just annihilate them.
Yeah, that kid, if he looks at this, he'll be like, "Wow, that's super cool," And he looks at a predator, and predator's probably pretty cool to him too. But I think this is much more eye catching. It's got a lot more of a unique design that I think really sells it. So
Yeah, there'll be times where like there's gonna be a new model replacement. It's like I don't like it as much, or like I don't get the point of it. This makes a lot of sense. It's just
and if you disagree and you got a different point, get in the comments. Go down there and fight us, man.
And I'll tell you why I'm right. You're wrong.
Yeah, and then we'll block you and
yeah,
report you for.
we suck enough. We will argue with you.
Yeah, exactly. Get in the comments. I have very similar stuff to say about this. I think it's much cooler, and the reason I think it's much cooler is because of the massive, which I love.
Oh yeah,
I love a good off cannon. Is this the new Land Raider?
That's the new Land Raider. This one doesn't hold 6 dudes. Like this is just a tank. It's separate from Land Raider. The Land Raider's purpose driven. It's a assault tank. And there's a different transport. This is just a off tank. Right. This is a main battle line tank. This is your heavy tank.
So what if they took this, right? They took these two skids, they had those the same, but they put a door here like a Land Raider.
You'll see. There is a variant of this. There's a transport variant. There's a repulsor. I think it's just called the repulsor.
I might not have it in here.
I think it's the same exact kit. You legit take off the big off gun, you put a little bit smaller gun, and it holds a lot more people. That's about it. Like, you might not have the picture here. Like, you kind of get the gist of it.
I don't think I do.
Take out the big gun. It's the same kit, too.
Yeah.
That's just a transport. It's not an assault transport. They have a different purpose.
Have you seen these in person, Marcus?
Yes, they're pretty big.
Are they bigger than this?
Yes.
So does this kit build the Impulsor too?
Yes, that's the Impulsor size. So that's, like I said, it's a Predator variant.
Right.
So, like I said, the Impulsor kit doesn't build. They are different boards. I think you could probably magnetize them. Do something similar.
I think you can. I think you can do both on this.
Potentially.
I could be mistaken.
But now that guy's pretty big.
It's the same base.
Yep. So then.
Yeah. Compared to the Land Raider, I can see I'm much more amenable to the argument that the Land Raider's cooler than this.
I'll die on that hill.
But
die on that hill.
I think this is very cool though too. I'm fine with either end of it. I'm not willing to die on that hill, right? Like I'm okay with this replacing the Land Raider. I bet I'm in the minority.
It's a big, expensive transport that if you run it as the regular repulsor variant, it kind of doesn't shoot that hard. It has a bunch of little guns.
I hate to break it to you, but I think this is going to replace the Land Raider. I think the Rhino, the Predator, and the Land Raider are all going to go the way of the Dodo. I think they're going to be Horus Heresy models, and that's going to be it.
I think they tried, and I think they are still selling Land Raiders like hotcakes. So,
they might just do it. They might just say, "F it, sorry, let me drink your salty tears." The entire 40k world.
I think
they've done that, dude. They've done that kind of thing before, yeah. And there might be pushback, and it is the most popular army. So,
Land Raiders are too iconic. I think Predators are kind of iconic. I could see them doing a new Land Raider, which could be super cool. But
they did a new Land Raider for Horus Heresy.
Primaris Land Raider. Because these aren't assault tanks. Like maybe they can give rules to repulsor, but like they're backline tanks.
The one that you can build is a regular repulsor. You just basically
you still have the minigun off. No. It's the same turret. You just instead of the big gun, you just have like a little mass cannon.
Oh, that's lame as shit, dude.
Yeah. That's your Land Raider replacement? I don't think so. This is a backline heavy tank. Makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like if they had this, right, and they had this where it was this whole model was like the one variant you could build where it has smaller transport capacity but or maybe none at all. And then like there was a variant you could build with a ramp in the front. And if they made it a little wider, I'd be more on board with it. Because you're right, the whole idea of a Land Raider is it zooms up, drops its ramp, and then out come the termies, right?
Mm-hmm. It's like in there. It's like guns are made to support close range or like, the regular Land Raider has last guns, but
it does. It has the pistols on either side and stuff, but maybe this of all three of the ones that we're going to talk about, the Impulsor, the Gladiator, and then the Repulsor, I think of the three, this one is probably the least popular compared to the old variant. But I'm telling you, man, I think regardless of what we say and regardless of what we think, they're going to do it. They're going to put the Land Raider out of production for 40k. They're going to say Horus Heresy is where you play this. If you love the Land Raider, you can still play it in 40k. And they're just going to say deal with it. The Repulsor's the new Land Raider. Sorry about your luck. And maybe people will be pissed off about that. If you're pissed off about that, get in the comments.
It's a fine model. I think it's a lot of kind of. It's big and it doesn't do much with the size.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and I like I said, that's both you and Matt say that, and I'm super on the fence about it. I don't really have strong opinions about it, but at the same time, I don't have that sort of same perspective. I think a lot of people that do have that perspective feel that way. So
General Land died for the Land Raider. I won't let you disrespect him.
yeah, General Land. So I will say that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. That the Land Raider is named after a guy whose name was Land.
Yeah, you gotta say this for Land Raider lore. Come on.
Yeah, okay.
Source feeders.
Awesome. This counts as an airplane, so it's awesome.
So let me just. You probably forget already about the guy who I think is in a weird place. Speaking of death guys.
That's the guy up there?
There's the guy up here, yeah. On mine that I built for White Scars, I took him out. I just green stuffed over this with cardstock and clipped these away. Because there's no reason he should be here. This is the stupidest part of this model.
Yeah.
Hey guys.
This 9th edition misses
targeting sensors don't exist. I have to be here. I have to be in this turret.
Make it armored.
There can't be a readout located on the passenger's control panel. I have to be here. It's like the triple kill seat. It's the triple kill seat in Halo.
It's tradition.
I'm here doing nothing and dying for the cause.
I think they could have had this as enclosed. I bet there's almost certainly ways to close this and make it look better. I think the guys in the open.
There isn't, dude. I'm telling you. Well, okay, so the way to do it is do what I did. There's no way to. There's no way to. Yeah, there's no way to build it like that.
They should have. I think it would look better. I think it was like I said, the bones are there. I like the model a lot. I think it could be better.
Oh yeah, no, this is an insanely cool model.
Thunderstrike and Hammerstrike almost always have play. They're fast. They have support elements. They're pretty cheap right now. They've kind of been expensive.
One of them, I think it's the Hammerstrike, hits on 2s and has big las cannons or something.
That's a Thunderstrike. Yeah, it has a really good gun, and it shoots tank and gives everything it shoots after +1. The Hammerstrike has a bunch of meltas and rocket shots, and it gives ignore cover, which is essentially +1 AP this edition because everything gets covered.
Yep.
Both super strong. Hammerstrike's just 125. They're really cheap. They're pretty tanky, and they're fast. And they have fly, so they can move over stuff. There's a lot to like about these guys. They're cool as hell.
Yeah, for sure. I had 3 of them for my White Scars, and that was one part of the army where I was like, maybe I should just keep these because they are really, really cool. For a long time, you couldn't get them either.
100%, yeah.
They're probably one of my favorite models in the range. That's not a Dreadnought.
I like the old land speeders, but they don't look good on the table. These guys stay on the table.
I think this is 100% improvement. I think the old land speeders look stupid. I like playing against. I played against.
Oh yeah,
Dark Angels. I played against the old Ravenwing speeders, and they just look so terrible on the tabletop. And I'm sure there are people out there who are really attached to their old Ravenwing speeders or whatever, but these just look so much cooler, and they look properly proportioned. That's my biggest issue with the old ones is they had all this shit mounted on the front where it looked like the speeder, as soon as it enters the sky, is just going to nosedive into the ground and drag along as it speeds along. That's my biggest issue with a lot of the stuff in 40k is the proportions are off. This thing looks like it could actually function, and it looks like the grav parts of it are properly positioned at the front, so it's generating lift at the front, and then the rest is generating lift from the back, or these little wing divots and the thrust. So, I'm all aboard.
I think this is really cool. I think we should actually cancel 40k and just all play Aeronautica Imperialis.
And just have speeders, yeah.
The more airplanes and speeders, the better.
I get it, man. I mean, that's the opinion. So there's nothing we can say. I think in general, Matt's the airplane expert, and also just Mr. Opinion, Mr. Proper Opinion. So. No, I agree.
Aeronautica.
I think 11th edition, we cancel the troop requirement. Everyone brings airplanes.
Everyone brings planes. Well, I guess we're done doing the range review for this. Tune in next time while we do the Aeronautica range review. We no longer play 40k. No, these are definitely cool.
What's it called? The Avenger? Is that the cool one that we liked?
For 40k,
Yeah.
the Forge
The
World
guard
one.
has that one resin Forge World kit, and it's awesome.
Oh, which one? That explains most of it.
Yeah, but it looks
It's
like
the one that
a
looks like a World War II fighter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called.
I think so.
Maybe if
Depends
it's
what we
still
like
up
more.
on the GW website, we'll probably talk about it when we talk about guard.
The Avenger's cool, but that's not the one I'm thinking of.
We're just talking Chinook Predators. These guys are. I especially like the Horse Heresy version.
Yeah, so this is what I'm talking about. I included the new Horus Heresy one because I said, basically, if you don't want to buy into a kit that's ancient, like you're thinking, well, I like the Predator, but I
Get
want
the one on the
a
right.
newer model. You can get the one on the right, and this is like
And
a
it's
pretty new
plastic, yep.
model.
The
It's
Thunderbolt is what I'm thinking of, by the way. Sorry to
Thunderbolt.
interrupt. It's a Thunderbolt. That's cool. Anyway.
Unacceptable. This is like the Rhino chassis, and this
Mhm.
is like maybe not as much of a Rhino chassis. But
That's what I mean by like that's an iconic tank. It's a great tank,
Funny.
not that different from a guard tank. So if you want Space Marines to stand out more, the grab tanks I think have that covered. But they're both cool.
I think the one on the right's a little bit more. It's not pinned as well as in the issue. Like the one on the left, Jesus, someone real hard in that Predator. But you could make that one on the right look insane, and it's just gonna look a little bit better. It's a little bit more. The turret's cooler. There's more smokestacks.
I like a lot of the like 30k Horus Heresy.
Yeah, that's a lot of that old stuff. It's not gonna go away. You'll just have to play Horus Heresy.
Well, that's the thing is, like, whenever I think about... So I play CSM, if that's not clear at this point in the video, but whenever I think about, like, buying into, like, Predators and stuff, like, I'm worried about buying this, right? Because this might go away next edition. This might be gone. I might spend $70 on this and then not be able to play it in 40k next edition. But if I buy this, and for CSM that might not be true, right? But if I buy this, at least I have that little bit of safety net where it's like, maybe
at least
that's
it's
just
like-
self-justification or whatever, but...
But it's less like so you play Horus Heresy with it. More importantly, it looks like, and that's the thing. Like I was just say, the Predators looks cool. If you like the model, and like I said, if you're buying it for the rules, they will still look pretty cool. Like I do think the Gladiators are improved.
Yeah, and hey, if you're out there and you're a Space Marine collector and you're tied to your Predators and stuff like that, you know, I don't think... Play your models, man. Like, you know, don't
100%.
let GOW harsh your vibes. We still have contemptors and stuff that we
Put on a
cap
flight
and
stand.
stuff.
Because my Predator Gladiator.
Put it on a flight stand. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, put it on a flight stand and and play with people you like that are okay with that.
Oh, maybe
The bulldozer.
Yeah. So the
Bob the
Vindicator. This is the new Vindicator. This is the Siege Vindicator. Which I actually think this is not like a 1-to-1, but I do like this one, and I do like this one. This is people don't like the Vindicator very much, as I understand it, because it's sort of a...
They're so wrong.
What do you mean? You put it in the sandbox and you go like brr, brr,
yeah, it's a child's toy for playing in sandboxes. No, it's super cool.
It's super good rolls wise. It's super. I think it's iconic.
I don't know. I think this is going away too, to be honest with you. I think it's going away. I don't think they're going to do like a new version of it either. I think they're just going to get rid of it.
I would love it if they did, but yeah. It's insane right now, it's roll wise. We talk about, like, you know, Dreadnoughts durable, tanks shoot hard. This does it all. It shoots super hard, it makes it shoot into combat, it's
Casino
super
cannon.
tanky.
Get that gambling fix in.
Like, even worst case scenario, it's 4 shots. Or if you shoot a big blob, it's like 13 shots.
I wish when they made this model, they wrapped that up around a little bit more.
Yeah, maybe it comes to shield. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe. All right, go ahead and wax poetic about this thing. This is the new one that I was talking about for 40k for Horus Heresy.
I think it's a little.
I like that one a lot.
This one?
I think they're both cool, but I really do like the Horus Heresy one. Yeah, that one's
the Horus Heresy one is a nice improvement.
If you flipped it on its head, you could still drive.
Mm-hmm.
That was a joke.
Like that remote control car as a kid.
Yeah.
Driving up a wall and then it goes down and it keeps going.
Yeah, I'm just picturing Angron being like, the way we deal with tanks and the World Eaters is we flip them over and then that thing drives in. He's like, no! My weakness! An unflippable tank!
I don't fear much. That tank.
Yeah. He's banished to the warp by the fact that it can't be flipped over.
Super iconic. It's super. It also just looks good. It ages well. The Redeemer, it's finally been priced appropriately. It's almost 30 currently, but tank that can transport stuff. It's tanky. It is maybe one of the single best Overwatch pieces that still exist in the game.
Yeah.
Like Flamers,
As a
real.
man who's been overwatched by this, yes, indeed.
I think the one on the left, there's like enough model and texture difference. It's not just flat.
Well,
That
the
it
the
just
thing
looks
about
good.
this is you can make it look pretty good pretty easily if you just dry brush it up and then do like a wash. It looks good, right? Make sure you get everything base coated in and then do transfers. It's gonna look great. So.
And they're big too. They are big, but they're not obnoxious. I
Nah,
think they're well
you
balanced.
still have a metal one, I think. Or
I think we have like
Mm,
Mike
two.
sold.
It's not metal, I don't think.
It
I don't think. I think it's
might not be
plastic.
metal, but it's still it's massive model.
It's
They're
huge. Yeah.
big, yeah. It's his proper size.
What I want to do is I want to make a CSM one, Chaos Space Marines one. I want to put like a giant arm here, reaching out on the ground, and on the other side too. So it's like crawling its way forward. Not actually, but yes, actually.
Crawling in your skin, you could say.
No, I wouldn't say
These
that.
wounds, they will not heal.
Nope. No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't say that.
Sure.
I wouldn't say that. I think this one's going away too.
Yep.
There's a non-zero chance they make a gladiator variant with.
It's a Predator with some missiles on it.
I think there's a non-zero chance that they take Impulsor chassis and they add this to it.
I don't think so.
I could see it.
I don't think they're going to do indirect anymore.
I hope not, but
Yeah. Let's hope they learned their lesson.
I wouldn't buy this kit
Don't.
unless you want to collect old Marines. I wouldn't buy this. I freaking love the Impulsor, and honestly, people like the Rhino a lot, and they think that seems to be an opinion that a lot of people have of. Well, the Impulsor failed, or the Repulsor failed, or the Gladiator failed, or whatever. You know, I don't think that's true. I think these are cool as hell, and you know, I don't necessarily they hit this out of the park in terms of design philosophy.
Yeah. I think it's cool. It's at an open back top. So, it could be a piece for shooting. It's great for, transports are just good. This one, rules wise, it's one of the fastest ones. You have an invul. It has not insignificant amount of shooting. Take some blast weapons. Like, there's a lot to like about this thing. On paper, I think it's one of the best transports. More issue with Marines is I don't think they have amazing things to put into it. You can now hold 7 models, so you can put 6 Blade Guard and a character in it. It has some roles. You can put Assault Marines with a character.
This was the first model that was like an assault vehicle too. You could move it and then disembark. What about you, Matt? Smash pass?
What was the other grab tank? I don't remember the names.
Gladiator?
I like the other grab
Gladiator?
tank more, but I think this one's still cool.
Yeah, it's the same thing, just less guns. So, of course, but one more.
That one. I like that one the most.
They might be a little longer, actually. They might have like
I like the length of it.
Yeah, you're a big length guy.
Yeah.
It's always going to look shorter because the back end's kind of cut off. So it might be. I think it's a little bit shorter just because it's a big old piece of plastic on the back. But pretty much.
I am fairly certain that you can build both. Like if you have, so when this came into Combat Patrol, I don't think you could build both. But I think in the actual full kit, you could build both.
I bet you could build as an Impulsor, but the Gladiator box, or rather, an Impulsor can't be built without the bits. It might be a slightly different body. I haven't looked at it.
I bet if you build, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm fairly certain that you can. I
bet with enough effort, you definitely could.
Yeah. Which would be awesome. I know you can. I have seen people magnetize the 2 kits, but I don't know if they did it with two separate kits to do that. Kind of a shame if that was the case. I think this is going away too.
100%.
I really don't agree with that.
Yep, this is a Rhino legit with a gun off of it.
Probably not a good idea to get this, guys. Let's move on to the Rhino.
It's super iconic.
I love Rhinos, man. The Rhinos are f***ing awesome.
They're not the main Marine thing anymore. They'll be a Sisters thing, CSM thing. It helps you differentiate from the factions, but it's
Sisters of Silence.
Your Bradley. It's your T-72. I get why people are upset. Everyone has at least one of these.
Yeah.
I would you
at least one of them.
If you really want them, wait for them to be legends. They'll be uneven. Pay them up, have them look on your shelf, look awesome.
They're already basically. You can get Rhinos, like they're everywhere.
Yeah.
It's Warhammer podcast has like a meme. It's like Rhinos are basically free, and it's true. You can find Rhinos in used shops. You can
with Sisters. Like what was
Emulator?
Yeah, the Immolator used to just be a rhino with missiles on it.
Yeah.
Well, that's the Exorcist. Yeah, it still kind of is.
Exorcist. Like, I get all the names.
That's what the Predators are. It's all just rhinos with.
Mm-hmm.
So
So I think it's cool that we're moving away from that and distinguishing. But I think there's always
Yeah.
still going to be a place for the rhino.
it wouldn't be hard to get 3 for almost nothing. You want to own them? Own them. Man, they are iconic. They look great. They're a simple box, but like that's war. Simple boxes have a role to play.
I have one on my shelf that I'm looking at right now, and it was a pleasure to paint. It looks decent from far away.
It's a transport. It's a good transport. They're
Yeah.
tanky. They have especially Marines. They can hold a hunter killer. Hold 10 models. They're fast.
The only thing is they've been scale crept a bit.
Telecorrupt, and you can't put good stuff in.
I wouldn't be
So-
surprised if they go the route of. I mean, maybe they'll even do this for Space Marines. They just increase the scale of these and say,
No, the Pulsars replace these guys 100%.
I mean, for the Land Raider though, if there's enough backlash from the Space Marine player base.
Well, that's the thing. The Pulsar does this thing's job.
But my point is, there are people out there who hate that the Impulsor is going to replace the Rhino, and that might not matter. You know,
We'll have to see. I wouldn't be sad if it stays. I think it opens up.
we don't know what's going to happen. If they do keep the Rhino around, I wouldn't be surprised if they increase the scale of it. I guess is what I'm saying, because it's been scale crept a little bit since Primaris has come out.
The Impulsor's the same size, but the Impulsor holds not 10 models.
No, the Impulsor is bigger, dude. This next to a Primaris Marine's as tall as this thing. If I put my CSM dudes up next to this thing, like my new Primaris size CSM guys, they're like basically the same height. And
Sisters make sense.
Yeah, sisters. I mean, sisters even I bet are like pretty big compared to this thing.
10 of them? Yeah, it's a rough sell.
So and it's not obvious enough that it bothers me, and I don't even think about it. Right? I love my rhinos. I have 3 of them. I love every single one of them. But there's things like you have kids. Like sometimes you gotta accept their limitations. Like.
Sometimes one of the kids you forget at the mall. So,
There was a point in my mom's life where she was like, maybe he's not going to be a doctor. Maybe he'll be a prisoner. Exactly. A sex pervert. Exactly, Marcus. Yeah, so made it this far in the video. Congratulations. Also, I'm a sex pervert, so yeah. I'm wanted in most states. Yeah.
As it goes.
Get in the comments if you also like being a sex pervert.
We definitely won't report it after.
Yeah, Hammerfall Bunker. All right, cool. Anyone want to say anything about this, or can we just skip it, please?
It's pretty cool looking, but yeah, I can tell out of here.
It says Hammerfall, and yet there's no hammers on it. It has missiles.
0 out of 10.
Trash unit.
If you're a big Hammerfall Bunker guy, get in the comments.
Smash.
All right. This is our official plane aficionado.
Actually, I think the one on the right's a little goofy looking.
Oh, I think it's super stupid, dude. I hate that thing. I hate that thing. It looks like a model that wasn't finished.
No,
It looks like
look at it.
It looks like they accidentally designed it wrong. Like they were like, what fins do we put on this again? And then they didn't follow the instruction manual.
On the left is Scooty Puff Senior, and on the right is Scooty Puff Junior.
This is what I call
or my tiny son.
Yeah, this is what I call future dreadnoughts of Ultramar. Like this thing is gonna crash the moment it takes off, and they're gonna be like, "Oh no, brother, you've been horribly mauled by your incident." It's like, why did you guys have that dreadnought chassis at the airport, like ready to go? Like, what do you mean? It's just like, well, we were running out of Redemptor dreadnoughts. This is awful. I think this is stupid.
Smash.
That one pretty.
Pass. This one's okay. I would not smash it. I think it's stupid. I think planes have no place in 40k. I don't want them to be in 40k.
They're going the way of the Dodo. They don't have
the only thing that should be in 40k. Guys are stupid. The dumb little plastic guys. Get rid of them.
Do you know why planes have 360 view cockpits? So their pilots can see.
Yeah, except this Space Marine has all the wires hooked up to his nipples, and whenever the sensor information flows into him, he can feel the airplane.
Just him. The rest of the guys are blind.
The rest of the guys need full cockpits. This guy though, yeah.
Not areolas.
I'm
but,
just
you
not
know.
I'm not a big fan of these planes. I think this
There's-
one's okay. This one's just terrible. I think this is awful.
I think Marines have the weakest planes, and that's the thing. And they're cool, but of 40k, there's insane planes. And
Yeah,
these
there's some really cool ones.
These aren't them. The Thunderhawk's pretty cool.
Thunderhawks are pretty awesome.
There's one at the
The
shop
Storm-
in at the
Yeah.
and it's pretty cool in person, but
Never
And you
own
can
one.
see, you're right
Never
there,
ever own
15
one.
plus. You know, this ain't for kids.
yeah,
You got to
15
get your
plus.
daddy's permission.
This is how old am I right now? 32 plus. Or 33
take
plus.
too long.
I can't build this. The idea of building this gives me literal that's what happens.
Yeah,
I have a stroke whenever I think about building
Yeah,
this.
because he wants to smash it so hard.
It's notoriously one of the worst models ever built. It's not that I have rolls. It barely has rolls.
Yeah.
Space Marines have this thing with the tail. If you go back, they all have that like tail.
You want to go back one?
They all do that.
It's so
Yeah.
ugly.
It's like I guess it's trying to make a Space Marine design language, except there's a reason planes don't do that.
It looks like the thing that would be on Snoopy's doghouse.
Storm Raven for me is we talked about earlier, like the guard board world has the Avenger, and it does kind of that like swept wing thing.
Yeah. Yep.
Too stumpy.
Yeah.
Like I like planes, and I was joking, but like the Storm Raven's really stumpy.
I think these are all that. They all are kind of stumpy.
I think the Stormhawk is okay because they threw 50 guns on that.
When we talk about Ravenwing, Matt, and we do Dark Angels, there's cool planes in there. I think those should just be the Space Marine planes. If they do these planes, right, there's no reason it shouldn't just be a Pelican from Halo. It should be a Pelican from Halo, dude. Like this, that should be the beginning of their design discussion. Let's make this look like a Pelican from Halo. 40k success,
The Vulture.
The Vulture would be perfect. Make it a gun. Make the Vulture the gunship, and make this make the carrier one the Pelican. And like, whenever I think about 40k's most successful models, and then that's not 100% true for Space Marines. Like, I think Space Marines are relatively unique, but a lot of the best IPs that they have, a lot of the best models they have, they've stolen a lot of their ideas, and that's not a bad thing. Like
Avatar.
Steal lore.
Thank you for finding a very specific example of where I do not apply that principle, Matt. But that's my point. Is like would you buy a 40k Pelican?
Oh god, yeah.
If tomorrow there's gonna be a big reveal show tomorrow. If tomorrow they come out with they're like showing off models, and the next one in the line is, and Space Marines are getting a new range of planes. Welcome the Storm Pelican, and it's just a Dark Angels painted Pelican in 40k
And inside
scale.
there's a Marine, and he's got cables hooked up right to his nipples.
yeah. I mean, that would be a good way to ruin the model. But if you
Forkinicus, what are you doing?
yes, Ficus, what's going on in there? Why have you locked the door, Ficus?
Mighty Emperor.
I am converting to Slaanesh. Yeah, no, but that's my point. Like, for real, if I, as a real question posed to you, wouldn't you buy that, right?
100%.
Yeah. Like, that would be so cool. And this thing over on the right, like, this actually makes sense as a plane. Like, maybe this part's a little bit too chonky, but this, like, makes sense as a plane. Like, this could actually fly, maybe.
Yeah, you might get that as a collector piece from China.
This is
like $3,000.
This thing is ridiculous. This cannon on the top, it's ridiculous.
I like it. It is old. It's iconic.
This looks more like something that would be in space than it would be in like the atmosphere, but that's like whatever. I wouldn't recommend buying planes if you're trying to get an army together and you really like the planes. Like if you really like we'll talk about our guard collection when we talk about guard, and we have a Valkyrie. If you really like a plane, go for it, because it is a great thing to keep on your shelf, as Matt can attest. Yes. Maybe not for the rules, but whenever you do them really well, they do look very cool.
Yeah. If you want a Storm Raven, when they get Legends next edition, there's going to be a lot of them. They were really good at one point, and a bunch of people owned them. They'll be all over eBay.
Yeah.
Ooh, I do like this thing. It is dumb.
The Strays is awesome.
The Strays is super cool. Speaking of grav tanks, though, like this thing
this came out like in the 8th edition. Like, this was like a precursor, like, hey, this is where we're going.
And
like,
this thing is huge, too.
It's a super heavy. Like it has rules technically, and they're bad.
I imagine it's a nightmare to build because this is
Oh yeah,
resin.
because it's resin. It's new resin though. Like
Yeah, still, there's probably a
uh,
lot of work involved in getting this together. If you
yeah,
really,
this
if you
is
really want a hobby project and you really like
yeah,
this model, go for it. But this is going to be a project. Don't get into this
100%.
thing. And I mean, I don't know how much this thing costs. You can probably get it cheaper
For
from recasts or whatever, but it's still going to be a big old chunk of change to get this thing, and it's a lot of resin. You got to clean, you got to wash, you got to sand off all the imperfections, you got to assemble it. And this is not, this is super glue. So your hands are just going to be covered in super glue forever. And once you get it together, you got to paint this bad boy. And like Jack Hunter, respect. I got this from Goonhammer. Respect.
oh yeah,
Because this is incredible.
oh yeah, it is an amazing looking model. And we're talking about model. Yeah, it's not fair. It's not. It's resin. Resin can do insane stuff.
Yeah, and this, I mean, we talked about the Space Marine design language. This is very, very Space Marine to me. This is what a Space Marine super heavy tank should look like.
Yeah, someone looked at this and you can see this is what gladiators are based off. This the repulsors. Like you can see where a lot of that design.
And, if your marriage isn't going well, you could use this as a murder weapon. This thing is huge. You could kill a man with this. You could bludgeon someone's skull in. You know?
Yeah.
You could use this as actual skis.
It also, if you squint, looks like the Scorpion from Halo.
But that's
We both just squinted. I bet you a bunch of people, if anyone's listening to this, just squinted.
The squint, that's a Scorpion. Well, it's a Grizzly tank. It's got 2 barrels, but
Paint it green. Put a little turret here. A little double kill seat.
all right. I could talk about this thing all day.
Closing thoughts.
Oh my god, we did it all.
We did it all. So this is going to be by far the longest episode we do. I mean, this one was 103 slides, I think. That's what we said.
I thought there was more. Honestly, I'm surprised. I was ready for this to never end.
There are more Space Marine models out there. These are the ones that had data sheets.
Yeah, luckily we don't. The Forge World stuff did get there because maybe that'll be a different video because I have a lot of things to say about the Forge. They're some of my favorite models, but rules wise, money wise, like you can't get them. You can get them, but you're not going to get them from your other. So
well, I feel like a lot of that stuff's moving in the right direction, and by right direction I mean it's going away forever and being replaced by good plastic kits.
Yeah,
so.
That's the big thing. It's not a bad thing. Forge World was a horrible investment and thing, but man, did it have some cool.
The biggest thing about Forge World is and one of the reasons why Forge World is never going to be successful as a business model was, even if you did paying a massive premium for Forge World stuff, if you got a Forge World piece in, there was no guarantee you were going to be able to build it.
No,
and
it could suck.
It's just might be there's a reason they put 15 plus on some of those models, because they're trying to tell people this is hard to build. You need to be an advanced modeler to build these things. You need to know how to pin. You need to know how to actually prep your models so the pieces fit together. I don't mind saying this. I got a recast version of the Tantalus because that is one of the coolest Drukhari models. And I believe it's still in the... They need to make a plastic version because that thing is a nightmare to build.
Yeah, and you got to own it too. You got to if it falls, it explodes. You just
maybe if someone built it for me, I would be okay with that. But
I couldn't build the dildos. The city was all
yeah.
I gave up on that.
I mean, we got that thing together with pinning and with hope.
You got it together. I gave
hope and a prayer. I mean, you did most of it, but I got the drill in the end.
I could barely I got there. I couldn't do it. My hands were covered in glue.
What is that model? What is that model actually called? So that the people, if there's anybody who's still listening to this 2-hour rant about Space Marines,
why? Is it the Hades Assault Drill?
No, that's the one for guard. I can't remember what it's called. It's the assault drill for Space Marines and CSM and AdMech. It was a nightmare to get together, and ours was had battle damage, and by battle damage we mean the doors were broken off on the one side because the resin snapped.
And that's the thing about recast. Don't worry, You got stuff from Forge World. You're
But
gonna get the same
that's the
exact
point.
quality.
That's the point. Is like if I like money being not an object, I would
I don't.
still be driven to recasters because I don't want to pay hundreds of dollars for a model that's going to be literally impossible for me to assemble. I can't imagine. I already had frustration in assembling the Dreadclaw, and I spent like $60 on that thing. Like,
Yeah, I can't
if
imagine.
I paid $200 for it, I would have been beside myself with rage. Like, it would have been a completely different negative experience. I feel sorry for the poor folks at Forge World customer service because I'm sure they got a lot of people pissed off in resin pieces
I
are
don't
not
think
fitting
they
together.
probably get royalty checks because that's the beautiful thing about Horus Heresy. A game I'll probably never play because the edition was a bad edition. And Horus Heresy has some of the coolest models. We'll almost really do Horus Heresy review because I just want to talk about Contemporary Dreadnoughts. I think those are beautiful, beautiful suits.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of cool stuff in Horus Heresy.
Yeah, we can go through that. There's so much cool stuff. The Mechanicum line is beautiful. I
Forward to
talked
the
about
Aeronautica Imperialis review, of course.
Yeah, I mean, I think in general, like it's worth going through and doing every game system as long as we want to do this, because
yeah.
it's looking at cool models, and I think
Well,
that's we've been talking a lot enough. That's an excellent closing thought. Thanks for looking at cool models. If
I
anybody's
love
still
cool
here,
models.
like and subscribe. Get in those comments. Tell us why. Tell us why you think. What was the biggest model we shit on today?
Uh,
Probably the Devastators or whatever the hell they're
I
called.
mean, tell us why you like any of those Space Marine planes. Why they're
Treat
better than
that
like the other ones.
Dreadnought like a like button and smash it.
Yeah.
Smash that
Yep.
Dreadnought.
Smash that Dreadnought shaped like button.
Smash.
Every like we get on this video, we will buy and have sex with an actual Dreadnought.
You guys gotta really catch up. I'm really heading that one.
Yeah, I will do this. All right. Well, anyway, thanks for listening. If you're still here, that's amazing. You are amazing. Thank you again for listening, and we'll hope to see you in the next one.